A service of KIBMradio.com, the Internet's home for an all old-time radio.
Five bells. Stand by all stations.
Attention, all districts. A 5-alarm fire. 5 bells. Move in immediately.
That's it. Let's go!
Let's go! Firefighters! Presenting Firefighters, the true-to-life story of our unsung heroes who stand ready to ride by day or night against our most murderous enemy, the demon of fire. In just a minute, we'll join Tim Collins as he rolls to a fire, his first run since Tim joined the rescue company. Tim doesn't know yet what thrilling adventure awaits him at the fire scene. And before he finds out, there's time for this message. Let's go, firefighters. Let's go to the firehouse where the rescue company is quartered. Tim Collins, you remember, has had a bad day with his new mates because they made it clear that no rookies were welcome in the rescue company. Tim put up with their badgering as long as he could. And then, when he couldn't take it any longer, he forced Mushnosky, ringleader of the old-timers, into a rough-and-tumble workout with a boxing glove. And just a moment ago, driving through Mushnosky's guard with terrific power...
How do you like this?
Mushnosky went down. And as Tim stood over him, amazed at the effects of his blow, he said...
All I did was land on his jaw only once, but... Well, look at him. Well, fellas, I don't believe it. It isn't possible. All his joints, they bend the wrong way.
Having a little trouble, Collins? Well, what's going on here?
Well, Chief Cody, this is all my fault. I made him put the gloves on with me.
Well, knocked him out, did you?
Well, no, sir. It looks as if I knocked him apart. I hit him just once on the jaw and knocked all his joints the wrong way.
Yeah, so I see. Well, don't worry about it, Collins. It's only Mushnosky.
Oh, but Chief Cody, he's in terrible shape.
Yep, I never saw him look worse. Not since the old days when he had that boxing act in the carnival.
Sir?
Oh, you should have seen him in those days, Collins. Arms and legs all over the place. Worse than an octopus playing the bagpipe.
I don't get it, Chief.
Well, what do you say, boys? You've had your little joke, haven't you?
Joke? Oh, good grief. Is this a gag? He isn't hurt? You mean I didn't...
Don't let it bother you, son. Mushnosky can pull himself together any time that... Hold it, boys. Box 13, a private box.
Box 13, that's for us. We roll.
Where's that box, Watchman?
Mechanical Standards Building.
Mechanical Standards Building, that's bad.
Mushnosky, lie still, you're hurt. Hey, come back.
Never mind Mushnosky, son.
Yeah, but Chief, one minute he's lying there, arms and legs all twisted the wrong way, and the next he's running for the wagon.
Never mind, I say. That man is double-jointed. He was an India rubber man in the old carnival days.
Oh, then it was a gag. They were kidding me.
Right up to the hill, Collins. Now climb on that wagon. You're due to roll.
Yes, sir. Hey, Smokehead! Come on, pull these boxing gloves off my hands so I can climb into my gear.
All clear, Captain Jellybone. Let's roll!
As Tim and the rescue company roll toward the fire scene, the young fireman is full of relief that it was only a joke, that by playing this trick on him, the men of his new company have shown their willingness to accept him as one of them. As the first due fire apparatus rolls from many directions toward the Mechanical Standards Company building, a man sits in an office on the 3rd floor, dictating a letter to a recording.
The Mechanical Standards Company is engaged in, the business of the company is to, our records contain 2,000 pages of figures worked out by our engineers. And with these figures, we can tell you exactly how to design your machinery for the best and most economical operation in any country.
Not knowing that fire has broken out in the employees' cafeteria on the floor below, Mr. J. Cooper Lawley, first vice president of Mechanical Standards Company, continues to dictate in the privacy of his air-conditioned, soundproof office until...
Inter-office speaker system. Confound it. Why does that girl have to bother me now? She ought to... Confound it, Helen. Why do you have to bother me now? I still have 10 minutes of dictation to do.
This is EB, J.C.
Oh, yes. What can I do for you, sir?
Plan D, J.C. Put Plan D into effect immediately for protection of our records.
Plan D? The building isn't on fire.
It is.
Where?
Employees' cafeteria. You'll find out if you don't move fast.
Employees' cafeteria? But that's right below me. Has anyone called the fire department?
Yes. Plan D's in full effect. Alarm sent in, everybody out of the building, or ought to be, except you and me. And now it's time for our part of the plan.
Yes, sir. I'm to carry the record books down to the vault, lock them in, leave the building through the basement exit, report for roll call, and then...
Then get started while you still have electricity to work that lock on the vault. Get those figures put away.
I shall, E.B. But what about the... E.B., are you there? Confound it, he's left. Now, where do I... Oh, the record books. If they burn, we'll be out of business. Now, ready with the books. Now, the key. Yes, anything else? Oh, my pills, correct. Now, down the fire stairs to the basement.
Along the empty corridor, Mr. Lawley hastens toward the fire stairs with the company's priceless record books under his arm. As he hurries down the stairs to the basement, a loudspeaker hung on the wall of the underground vault begins to crackle as E.B. Hewitt attempts to establish contact.
Lawley, where are you? Aren't you there yet? Lawley, J.C., can you hear me? This is Hewitt calling from the downstairs lobby. Lawley, this is worse than we thought.
Here I am, E.B. I came as fast as I could.
You'll have to hurry. You'll have to get out. The whole second floor is blazing. Fire Chief Cody says...
In a minute. I've got to change my key to the inside of the door, or I'll never get out when that switch locks it.
Lawley, are you there? Listen to me, J.C.
Stand by for report, E.B. I'm putting the books into the inner fireproof box.
Lawley, get out. The firemen are here. Everybody's out but you.
Oh, what next? All correct here in the vault, E.B. Records are stored away. Now I'm looking around the workroom. Windows locked, and I'm...
Lawley, listen to me. Here, Chief Cody. You talk to him.
Mr. Lawley, can you hear me? This is Fire Chief Cody. You've got to get out. We've got to pull the juice. Turn off the electricity in this building.
But you mustn't. See here, if you turn off the electricity, I should be locked in the vault. The door is controlled by a switch with a special key.
I know, but man, you don't understand. That second floor may come crashing down on top of you.
Chief Cody, my instructions are to follow Plan D. And it so happens it's now time for me... Here, the lights. Turn on the lights. You've cut off the electricity. I can't open the door, you fools.
As the lights in the vault go dead and Lawley finds himself unable to open the door with his special key that controls the electric lock, Chief Cody, at the speaker in the lobby of the Mechanical Standards Building, calls out...
Collins, come here. This voice box has gone dead.
Yes, sir. Captain Telephone says the cable must have burned through, Chief.
I told him not to pull the juice till I gave the word.
He didn't, sir. He didn't. We usually do. But we waited, sir. Now he says the fire cut the cable.
Then the man is trapped.
Who, sir?
Lawley, officer of the concern here.
Oh.
Carried the important records down to a vault in the basement, following some plan they have for protection in case of fire.
Oh, good grief, Chief Cody. How can we get to it?
That's up to you, Collins. You're on the rescue company, aren't you?
Oh, you bet I am.
All right, then. Do your job. Get that man out. And how you manage it is up to you.
Yes, sir. Rescue company! This way! Man trapped in the vault!
Let's have that foam. Hook up that foam generator. There's gasoline stored in this building.
Well, now, it looks as if Tim Collins' first run with the rescue company has raised a thrilling problem for him to solve. As Chief Cody turns his attention to directing the overall battle against the blaze that roars through the second floor, Tim races toward the rescue wagon for special equipment. How he plans to save Mr. Lawley from imprisonment in the vault deep in the basement of the burning building, well, you'll hear in our next true-to-life episode of The Firefighters. Now, in just a moment, Chief Bob Cody will tell you, boys and girls, how you can help the firefighters in your own hometown. But first, here's a message you ought to hear. And now here's Chief Bob Cody with a special notice for the Firefighters Brigade. Chief Cody.
Hello, boys and girls. This is Chief Cody. And I just want to point out that in any big company, you'll find plans. Now, these plans are made in advance to deal with the emergency of fire. Yes, sir. Most big companies have plans to protect life and property. And those fire safety plans are just as important as fire drill at school. You know, a few seconds can make all the difference between safety and disaster. And if you know just what to do, now listen, just what to do, just how to escape without losing your head or your way in case of fire at home or in school or, for that matter, anywhere else, a few seconds may be all you need. Well, that's all for now, and you'll hear from me soon.
Fire Chief Cody and the young rookie fireman Tim Collins will be back on the same station the next time you hear...
That's it. Let's roll!
Let's go! Firefighters!
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to burglary detail. One of your informants contacts you by telephone. He says he wants to see you immediately. He claims knowledge of more than 24 burglaries committed in your city. He offers the information despite threats against his own life. Your job, investigate. The latest Fatima sales report shows thousands and thousands of king-size cigarette smokers are switching to Fatima.
For the month of October, coast-to-coast actual figures show Fatima sales are up 110%, or more than double.
Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes. Definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
Remember, thousands of Americans are switching to extra mild Fatima. Next time, insist on the best, king-size Fatima, in the distinctive gold and yellow package.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Monday, April 16th. It was foggy in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of burglary detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Wisdom. My name's Friday. We were on the way out from the office, and it was 1:38 p.m. when we got to the corner of North Main and Sotelo Street. Johnny Cokin's Cafe.
Pretty well filled up. You want to sit at the counter?
There's a booth over there in the corner. People just leaving.
Oh, yeah. Didn't see it.
This is all right, isn't it?
Yeah, fine. Oh, it smells good. I wonder what the special is today.
Well, it's up there on the blackboard.
Oh, yeah. Enchilada with cheese, coleslaw, salad. Well, it does smell pretty good, doesn't it? Wish I hadn't had lunch. I should have waited. I keep forgetting Monday's enchilada day down here. Sure like the way Johnny fixes it.
Hello, Friday. Ben, how are you?
Hi, Roberta.
Here, get these dirty dishes out of the way.
Okay, fine.
Is it going to be the special?
No, we forgot today was Monday. We had lunch already.
Too bad. What'll it be, just coffee?
Yeah, it's fine.
Friday?
Yeah, same for me, Roberta. Both of them black, I guess.
Okay, 2 blacks.
Say, you haven't seen Smalley around this afternoon, have you, Roberta? Red Smalley?
Red? No, I haven't seen him for a couple of days.
Okay.
Thought he said to meet him here at 1:30.
Well, he'll be along. He's never been on time as long as I've known him.
Yeah, I wonder what's eating him. He sounded a little excited on the phone.
Did he give you any idea what it was all about?
No, just said it was important. Had to see it. Hey, I was just thinking, maybe I could handle one of those enchiladas after all.
Yeah, there's Red.
All
right, fellas. Hope I ain't late.
All right.
Been a long time,
Yeah,
huh?
sit down, Red. Good to see you.
Yeah, thanks. What's new with you, anyway?
Oh, not too much. How's it with you?
We are. 2 coffees black. How are you, Red?
Hungry. What about a hamburger steak, huh? Some coffee, too.
Hamburger, steak, and coffee, right?
You're looking pretty fair shape, Red. You working steady now?
Well, you know how it goes. On again, off again. Put in a full month playing bar boy at Ziggy's joint place down in South Main, you know.
Mm-hmm. What happened there?
Business fell off, and Ziggy said he had to let me go. Been kind of thin ever since. I'm hustling programs out of the racetrack right now. It's not too bad. Can't afford to bet, but I get to see the races free. You can't have everything, I guess.
I understand you're a little worried about something, Red. Anything serious?
Well, yeah, it might be. Like I was telling Romero on the phone, it wouldn't do me no good if it got out. I mean, me talking to you about it, you know. He'd probably tie a can to my tail if he knew I told you.
Who's that?
Guy by the name of Jeff Allen. You know him?
No, it doesn't sound familiar to me. Ben?
Me neither. Who is he, Red?
Second-story worker. Lots of savvy, too. He's fell a couple of times on burglary raps. Knows his business, though. Got a lot of moxie.
How long's he been in town, you know?
Oh, about 6 months, I think. Come from the east. Finished a stretch back in Michigan. He's a real pro.
Uh-huh. What's he doing out here, Red?
Well, matter of fact, that's what I want to talk to you about. Figured maybe you ought to know.
Yeah?
He's doing real good, the way I get it. I heard him and a couple other guys talking about it one night down at Ziggy's. They were having a couple of beers. Guess they didn't think I could hear him.
What'd they have to say?
This guy Allen was running off about how good he was doing, how many places he knocked over in the last couple of months, how much stuff he took.
And what's he look like, Red?
Oh, pretty average. About my height. Dark hair, little scar right here on his chin.
Mm-hmm.
About 160, 70 maybe, 36 years old. Usually wears leather jacket and black one.
All right, Red, here you go. Burger, steak, coffee.
Yeah, fine. Sure got a good appetite these days working out in the air, you know. It does you good.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'll show you one pass around my with Fletcher, Sergeant.
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Good.
These burglary jobs Allen's supposed to be pulling, Red. Where's he working them? Do you know that?
Well, no, I guess I don't. It's all over town, I suppose. Sure good hamburger.
When you overheard him talking to his friends, did he mention any jobs in particular that he pulled?
No, but he's working hard. I know that for a fact. He pulls a new one every week or so, the way I get it.
And what about his M.O., Red?
Regular second-story routine. He uses a jimmy or a small pinch bar. He usually goes through a window.
Does he work alone?
Strictly. His French bread's nice and fresh.
Yeah. Where's Allen staying in town? Do you know, Red?
No, I don't. I know where you can find him, though. The 1322 Club out on North Paris. He hangs out there quite a bit, almost every night. I think the guy who owns the joint's a friend of his.
Jeff Allen. Is that supposed to be his right name, Red?
As far as I know, I only met him a couple of times. He hung around Ziggy's place when he first come to town. Of course, I didn't know what he was up to then.
Do you know him well enough to talk to him?
Well, just about, yeah. I'm not buddies with him or anything. That's why I don't want it to get out, you know. If he gets the word I'm on your team, I'm a dead duck. I don't think he wastes a minute killing me.
You don't have to worry, Red. We'll keep it quiet. Well, did you hear anything else? Or is that just about the size of it?
No, that's just about it, fellas. I'll keep near the ground. If I get any more rumbles, I'll pass it on. Well, guess you know I really hate to talk about it.
What's that, Red?
Well, I mean how bad things have been running lately, you know, since I got laid off at Ziggy's.
Uh-huh.
I hustle like mad with the programs down the track. Doesn't bring in a whole lot, though. And a lousy landlady had to raise my rent last week.
Mm-hmm. Well, how much can you use, Red?
Well, you know, as far as anything at all, just a little loan, maybe something to help me over the hump.
Well, the only thing I have is a 20, Joe. You got any change?
Thanks, Romero. 20 will be fine. That's plenty. I sure appreciate that.
Oh, yeah.
Well, real good hamburger steak Johnny puts out. I gotta get going, fellas. Gotta be down the track.
All right, Red. Thanks a lot. If there's anything else, call us, huh? You got our number.
Sure thing. I'll stay right on.
Mm-hmm.
You want me for anything, holler, huh? I'm still at the same place.
Right.
Thanks a lot, huh? I'll see you later.
Yeah. Take it easy, Red.
Yeah. Bye, Red. He's getting a little expensive, huh?
He's probably been having a rough time, but he looked hungry to me.
Sure did. Grabbed that $20 bill like his life depended on it. I went to buy some new wool socks with there.
Well, I'll split it with you. Be worth more than $20 if the tip pays off.
Well, don't get me wrong. I didn't mind giving him the $20. It was worth it, but look at this here.
Oh, you have to check for the food, huh?
Yeah, I think the least he could have done was pay for his own lunch.
By and large, the character of the informant, in fact or fiction, isn't generally regarded with too much sympathy. To most people, the informant's nothing more than a stool pigeon, a squealer, somebody who, by the very act of informing, commits a sin against a supposedly popular unwritten law. Well, it's obvious that this isn't always so, because in the interests of law enforcement and justice, which means the betterment of the community, the informant very often plays a major role. Year after year, informants are responsible for the apprehension and conviction of many hundreds of criminals, people who rob and cheat and commit murder, crimes that are obviously far deadlier than informing. As for the mechanics of law enforcement at the level of the working detective, the informant is considered virtually indispensable. It's been said before by peace officers, and it'll probably be said again quite a few times. If your job is catching criminals and enforcing the law, this is the first rule you have to learn. The working detective is no better than his informants. 2:12 p.m. Ben and I had no idea if the information we'd gotten from Red Smalley was authentic or not, but it had to be checked out. We went back to the office and had Frank Cunningham and R&I check on Jeff Allen. We also had the stats office make a run for us on suspects with similar M.O.s. Then we started to page through reports of burglaries which had occurred throughout the city during the past 3 months.
No.
How you doing over there? Anything at all?
Not too much. Wait a minute, maybe. This might be one of them.
Here, let me see.
Home in Hollenbeck Park neighborhood. Burglar's M.O. matches out and a time element, too. Happened 6 weeks ago. Window on the second floor of the house was pried open. They took furs and money, $23.
Uh-huh. That's the only one you found?
Another one here I took out a minute ago. M.O.'s pretty much the same on this one, too. Only thing different is the night of the week it happened on. This one's a Thursday. That one there's a Sunday.
Yeah, it checks out pretty close otherwise. The only one thing I can't figure.
What's that?
Well, Allen's supposed to have been in the city for at least 6 months. According to Red, he's working a job maybe once a week, once every 10 days or so. Now, you got 2 reports there that match his M.O. here. I picked out 2 more from that other pile. Seems to me if he's been working in town for a couple of months, there ought to be more than 4 reports on him, shouldn't there?
I got it. Burglary in Merrill. Oh, you're fine. Jeff Allen. That so? Oh, you have, huh? Okay, right, Frank. Thank you.
Yeah?
R&I got a make on Allen. He's had one arrest here 4 years ago on a vag charge. He's a loser out of Michigan. Fell for burglary. Never been picked up for burglary here, though. He isn't registered.
And that's all, huh?
That's it.
Doesn't seem to gel right to me, does it to you?
A lot of loose ends to figure out.
I wonder if Red was handing us a line on this thing.
Why would he?
Well, maybe he needed that $20 touch. Maybe this Jeff Allen's an old pal of his. Red had a falling out with him. He wants to get even with him, I suppose.
Possible, I guess. I don't know.
Hi, Joe. Dan?
Oh, hello,
Tabor. What do you say? What's with you? You still in that stakeout south end of town?
Yeah, 3rd week. Sure getting dull. You two are busy. What's all this?
Oh, we got a tip on some prowl artist trying to get a line on him.
Take a look at this 3.1, will you, Jim? You run into any jobs recently that stack up like this in here?
Let's see.
We're shooting in the dark on it so far. I don't know if we got anything or not.
I'd say you got it. Burglary report in 77 Division this morning. Happened to check it when I was out there.
Same M.O. as this?
Same everything.
4:55 p.m. Ben and I went down the hall to the record bureau and picked up a couple of mugshots of the suspect, Jefferson Allen. Then we drove out to the 1322 Club on North Ferris Avenue in the Silver Lake District, the neighborhood bar where Allen spent most of his time, according to our informant, Red Smalley. We staked out in a car down the street where we could keep an eye on the front door to the bar and still not look suspicious. Between 5 and 7:30 p.m., we watched at least 24 customers entering or leaving the bar, but none of them came close to Allen's description. 8 p.m., nothing. By the time we were relieved on stakeout at 11 p.m., Allen still had failed to show. Late the following afternoon, we were back at the same spot, watching for a sign of the suspect. 6:48 p.m.
How you fix the smokes?
Oh, I think I got a couple left. Yeah, here you go.
Oh, thanks.
Los Angeles.
I got a light here.
Yeah.
11A, 6th Spring. 11A, 6th Spring.
Hey, have a look, Joe. Gray hat, dark suit. Just came out of the bar.
Yeah. Coming this way. Yeah, I'll buy it. That's him.
Getting in that blue sedan.
All right, don't press him. Let's give him a good lead.
All right.
He's getting in.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Joe?
Let's wait a minute.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, okay, we're clear.
All right.
You got him spotted?
Yeah, no trouble. That's a funny one, huh? Wonder why we didn't see him go in the bar.
I don't know. Might be a delivery entrance in the back of the place we could have missed.
Can you make out that license number?
Can you pull out just a little?
Yeah.
That's good. Yeah, let's see. 7 Tom 7 972. I better check it. 80K to Control 1. 80K to Control 1.
Control 1 to 80K. Go ahead.
Control 1, request rolling make and DMV on 7 Tom 7 972. That's 7 Tom 7 972.
Control 1 to 80K, Roger. Stand by. KMA 367.
Doesn't seem to be in any great hurry. Barely poking along.
Where is he now? I can't see.
Just turn right on to Bronson. I want to give him plenty of lead.
Uh-huh.
Yeah. That's him up ahead there.
Picking up speed now. Don't lose him.
Right.
Control 1 to 80K. Control 1 to 80K. Come in, please.
Here we go. 80K to Control 1. Go ahead.
7 Tom 7972. The car is registered to D. Denver J. John Carpenter, 1322 North Ferris Avenue, Los Angeles.
80K to Control 1. Roger. KMA 367.
Carpenter. Same guy that owns the bar, isn't it? His Allen must know him pretty well.
Well enough to use his car. Wonder what the pitch is there. You checked on Carpenter, didn't you?
Yeah, clean bill of health, no record. Yeah, up ahead there. Now he's slowing down.
Yeah. Turning up on that driveway. Pull up under that tree there, huh?
Right.
That's fine.
See him?
Uh-huh. He's getting out. Going into that bungalow over there. Letting himself in the front door.
No sign of anybody else there, huh?
No. House was dark when we drove up, wasn't it?
He couldn't be living there alone.
He might be.
Doesn't make much sense to me. Why would a single guy get himself a house that big?
Well, let's wait it out. Maybe he'll come up with the answer. 9:15 p.m. We continued our stakeout on the bungalow on South Bronson Avenue. A little more than an hour passed when we saw the lights go out in the house. The suspect, Jeff Allen, came out the front door, locked up, got in his car, and drove off. Ben and I followed him. He drove directly to the bar on North Ferris Avenue, the 1322 Club. He parked his car and went inside. Ben and I drove back to the cottage on South Bronson and let ourselves in through the back door. A preliminary check of the house failed to give us any real proof that Allen was the suspect we wanted. The only possible lead we came up with was an expensive hunting rifle, which we found stored away in one of the closets. We copied down the serial number on the gun, drove to a neighborhood cigar store, called the office, and asked him to check out the number for us.
Yeah, all right, Murph. We'll wait for the call. Yeah, thanks.
How'd you do?
Gonna check it through now, they'll call us.
Good. I'm a little hungry, aren't you? Would you like candy bar?
No, I'm getting a little tired of them. I wouldn't mind a square meal, though. My back's killing me. Never been so sore in my life.
Why, what's the matter? Did you fall?
No, nothing like that. It's my snoring again.
You're snoring? What's that got to do with it?
Almost broke my back. It's the wife's idea. She claims when I'm sleeping, I roll over on my back and snore, says it keeps her awake all night.
Well, there's not much you can do about it, is there?
Yeah, the wife thought of something. Supposed to be an old home remedy. She sewed a couple of golf balls right into the back of my pajamas. You get the idea behind it? If you roll over on your back, the golf balls dig into you and you have to roll over on your side again.
Mm-hmm. Well, so what happened to you?
Well, I'm a sound sleeper. Rolled over on my back and stayed there. Slept on those golf balls all night. Woke up in the morning like to have died. Felt like I'd snapped a couple of vertebrae.
Must be an easier way to keep you from sleeping on your back.
Well, it wouldn't do any good anyhow, George. Just won't work.
What do you mean?
I snore just as loud sleeping on my side.
I get it. Hello? Yeah, Murph. This is Joe Friday. Mm-hmm. W615344. Yeah, that checks. That was a serial number. When was that? Uh-huh. Yeah. Yeah, okay, Murph. Thanks. Bye. I think maybe we got a break.
Yeah?
They got a make on the gun we found.
Is it registered to Allen?
No, it was taken in a burglary 2 months ago.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Millions heard it, yet only 46 have written.
Starting on Dragnet over a month and a half ago, on September 20th to be exact, Fatima made a special money-back offer to more than 10 million listeners. The results, amazing.
Millions heard it,
Yet only 46 have written.
If you smoke king-size cigarettes, listen to Fatima's famous offer.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy their extra mildness and superbly blended tobaccos. If you're not convinced Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking, just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas before December 1st, and we'll give you your money back, plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
Fatima's latest sales report shows Fatima sales up in every state in America. The month of October, coast to coast, actual figures show Fatima sales up 110%, or more than double.
Yes, thousands and thousands of Americans are switching to king-size Fatima. So why wait? Switch to Fatima today. Extra mild. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Tuesday night, April 17th, 10:38 p.m. We got additional information from the office on the hunting rifle that we'd found in the bungalow to which we'd trailed the suspect, Jefferson Allen, a few hours earlier. The gun was registered to a Mr. Robert LaSalle, 3008 Bush Street. The rifle, along with $300 in jewelry and $48 in cash, had been taken from LaSalle's home 2 months before during his family's absence. The burglar's method of operation matched Allen's alleged M.O. exactly. 10:45 p.m. After arranging for a stakeout to be placed on the bungalow on Bronson Avenue, Ben and I drove to the 1322 Club on North Ferris, where we located the suspect, Jeff Allen.
Yes, sir, that's correct, Sergeant. I'm from back in Michigan originally. Been out here about 6 months now. Think I'm going to like it. Sure can't beat this weather, huh?
You've been working here at the bar ever since you got in town, is that right?
No, not quite. I've been here for about 4 months. It's kind of a handyman job. I help the bartender when I can, keep the storeroom in order, see everything shipshape, you know.
Uh-huh. You ever been in Los Angeles before, Alan?
Yeah, just once before, a couple of years ago. Wasn't so good then. Jobs were hard to get. I ran into a little bit of trouble. Finally went back east again.
I see. What was this trouble you had?
Well, as I say, jobs were pretty hard to come by then. I kept checking around, but I couldn't find anything. Wasn't so good. I finally got picked up on a bag charge.
Mm-hmm.
Spent a couple of weeks at the county. When I got out, I figured the best thing was head back east again. A lot better this time, though. I'm doing okay. See, I couldn't get you anything.
No, thanks. It's the same.
There's something maybe you'd like to talk to me about? Anything I can help you with?
It's a routine checkup we're on. Got a few more questions for you, if you don't mind.
Sure. Let's take one of these booths back here, huh? Might as well be comfortable.
Yeah, okay. Go ahead.
You sure I couldn't get you anything? A bottle of beer, Coke, maybe?
No, thanks.
You have your family out here with you, Alan, your wife?
No, I'm not married, Sergeant. I haven't taken the plunge yet. Figure there's plenty of time for that. It's hard enough to keep myself going these days, let alone a family.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You ever been arrested before, Alan? I mean, other than that bag charge you mentioned, you ever served any big time?
Yeah, matter of fact, I have, back in Michigan. Pretty dumb trick. I got in trouble as a kid. Burglary. Served all my time, though. I don't owe them a day. I'm washed up with that stuff a long time ago. It just doesn't pay, that's all.
Then that last time there was any trouble was that bag charge. Is that it?
Yes, sir, that's it. As I say, I'm all washed up with that stuff. It doesn't pay off at all. I got wise to that.
Mm-hmm. Glad to hear it, Alan. You figure you're going to stay on here, then. Make this your permanent home.
Yeah, I think I might. I sure like the weather. Job suits me, too. The boss even lets me use his car once in a while. Pretty nice, huh?
Yeah, huh? Where you living now? You got an apartment in the neighborhood here?
Yeah, I got an apartment. Nice little place. Not exactly in a neighborhood, though. It's out in West Hollywood, right on a bus line. No trouble getting into work. Just a small apartment.
Whereabouts in West Hollywood? You mind giving us the address?
No, it's on Norwich Avenue. Why do you ask?
It's part of this routine check we have to make. You mind very much if we drive out there with you and look the place over?
No, I don't mind. I mean, if you figure I need checking out, I'd just as soon clear it up now. I got nothing to hide. You want me to get my coat?
No, that's all right.
Say, I should be back here in an hour or so. What do you think? I mean, it's just a routine check. It won't take long, will it?
No, not too long. I suppose you can figure that better than we can.
How do you mean?
You said you had nothing to hide. 11:20 p.m. We drove the suspect, Jeff Allen, to his apartment on Norwich Avenue. It was more than 2.5 miles from the bungalow on South Bronson where we'd followed Allen earlier that night and where we'd located the stolen hunting rifle. While Ben and I made a thorough check of the apartment, Allen sat relaxed in an easy chair. Ben and I covered everything in the apartment, but there was no evidence of any loot taken in the burglaries.
That's about it, Joe. Checked everything.
Okay.
That's about it, Sergeant? You fellas want a beer before we go back to the club?
Just one or two more questions, Alan, and I think we can wash this thing up.
Sure, Sergeant.
Do you rent some other place in town? Another house or an apartment, maybe?
Another place? No, why would I do that? This is my apartment. This is where I live. Why do you ask that?
About 6 o'clock tonight, you were seen going into a bungalow over on South Bronson, the same neighborhood as the club where you work. We got a pretty good idea that there's quite a bit of loot from burglaries stored in that house.
I don't follow you, Sergeant. I don't know what you mean. I don't live on South Bronson. I live here. You ought to be able to tell that.
You were seen going into the bungalow, Alan, about 5 minutes past 6 tonight. We found a stolen hunting rifle in the house. It was taken in a burglary. You think you want to tell us about it?
No, I can't tell you anything about it. I don't have any bungalow on South Bronson. I'm not even sure I can tell you where the street is.
Well, you better get your hat, mister. We'll show you. 11:48 p.m. We got in the car and started driving down Beverly Boulevard back toward the bungalow on South Bronson Avenue. When we got to the bungalow, the suspect still refused to admit that he had a key to the door or that he was in any way concerned with the place. We had him empty his pockets, and among his possessions we found a ring of keys. We tried them on the front door of the bungalow. The fourth one we tried opened it. We went inside. Alan still would admit nothing. Ben contacted the landlady next door, and she said she'd be right over. I continued questioning him while Ben checked through the house again.
Hey, Joe. Sure you want to come back here? I think we got something.
Yeah, all right, Ben. You want to go ahead back there, Alan?
Sure, okay. Still can't tell you what the score is, though. I don't belong in this place. It ain't mine.
Well, that key you had seemed to fit the front door all right. How do you figure that?
That doesn't mean anything. I had that key for years. I think it's a skeleton key. Opens almost any kind of lock.
Down here, Joe. Small basement here. Leads right down off the kitchen.
Yeah, all right. Go ahead, Alan.
Have a look, Joe. Line of cupboards all the way around here. Check them for yourself.
Yeah, all right. Pretty good haul. Furs, machinist tools. Jewelry. Quite a bit of it here. A couple of radios. 2 more hunting rifles. Come on, how about it, Alan? You want to save time for all of us now?
You got it wrong, Sergeant. This isn't my place, I told you. When I got out of that trouble back east, I made up my mind I was all washed up with this kind of stuff. This house isn't mine. I haven't got anything to do with it.
You're kidding yourself, Alan. You know that.
No, you got it all wrong. You got it all mixed up.
Well, we'll let the landlady tell us.
The woman who owns this house, she's on her way over from next door. She ought to be able to tell us who she rented the place to. Wouldn't you say so? Wouldn't you?
She might be wrong. It's possible.
No, look, we got you dead to rights, mister. Why not face it?
Can't. I won't do it. I made up my mind the last time. It wouldn't happen again. I was all washed up with it. I won't go through it again. They'll send me back. I won't be able to take it.
Maybe you should have figured that before you started in.
I didn't mean to. I was all washed up with that stuff. I told you that the first time I saw you, didn't I?
Yeah.
I'm sure of it, too. I wouldn't try it again. Didn't pay. It's just what I told you. I'm all through with it. I'm washed up with it. I never lied to you, did I?
What's the difference?
Huh?
You lied to yourself.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On July 6th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 86, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. September. Fatima first made its famous money-back offer. Millions heard it, yet only 46 have written. October. Actual figures reported Fatima's sales up 110% coast to coast, or more than double. November. Thousands more switching to Fatima. So why wait? Buy Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarettes. And Mr. Dealer, that's your cue for November. This month, with Thanksgiving and the holidays coming up, I know you'll want to get your full share of all the new Fatima business. Check your Fatima stock tomorrow. Make sure you can take care of the thousands of Americans who are switching to Fatima, insisting on Fatima quality.
The apprehension of the suspect, Jefferson Harold Allen, resulted in clearing 22 cases of burglaries committed over the past 4 months. Allen was indicted on 22 counts of first-degree burglary and received sentence as prescribed by law. First-degree burglary is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for not less than 5 years.
Ladies and gentlemen, Only 2.6 patients out of every 100 reaching the most forward hospitals in Korea died later. The comparable figure in World War II was 4.5. According to official medical statements, the almost miraculous success in saving the lives of casualties is owing in part to the prompt use of blood plasma on the battlefield and whole blood in military hospitals. Whole blood reduces shock, a potential killer, and replaces blood lost through bleeding. In the treatment of many battle casualties, there's no substitute for blood. Every American who has given blood can and should feel he personally has contributed directly to the saving of the life of an American boy. This month, your country is short 300,000 pints of blood. Please give your blood and save a life.
You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Today's the silver anniversary of NBC.
My name's Regan. I get 10 a day in expenses from a detective bureau run by a guy named Anthony J. Lyon. They call me the Lion's Eye.
With Jack Webb as Jeff Regan, the Lion's Eye, stand by for hard-boiled action and mystery and thrilling adventure in tonight's story of the guy from Gower Gulch.
It's a gray building, about the color of moldy bread. It's an apartment house in the middle of Hollywood, and it figures that the guy who built it quit voting when they named the street it sits on, Taft Avenue. My place is furnished with war surplus from the Spanish-American War. Well, it's got a hat rack, and that's where I live, number 308. In back, where you get a view and some fresh air from the alley. One's about as bad as the other. But I got it fixed up kind of nice. Hot plate, coffee pot, an autographed picture of Sally Rand that somebody left there. The only mistake I made was putting in a telephone. It spoils a lot of things.
Regan, Mr. Lyon, wake up. We got a job.
Why don't you sleep at night?
Lucky for you, I got insomnia. We go broke.
Try Ovaltine. What kind of a job?
How should I know? Get your clothes on.
What are you doing, reading the want ads?
I got a note from a client.
You mean you got money?
$100 is all. Says he'll match it if we run him an errand.
Where to? Santa Ana Canyon?
He'll tell you.
You know, if you got morals like a cash register, can he write his name?
Davy Crockett. He's 50 years old.
Well, he's a little old for cowboys and Indians, isn't he?
That's his name, Davy Crockett.
Well, when's the wagon train pull out?
Regan, I don't know how I stand for you. Get over there.
Get where?
Listen, a guy works pretty hard. Building up a business like I have takes a lot out of him.
You got plenty on tap.
I just want you to understand, that's all. Money doesn't grow on trees. Now, sometimes you gotta play your hunches.
Like George Gallup.
This time I got a feeling the guy's okay. He writes like a gentleman, Regan. I want you to treat him like one.
Well, where do I find him?
He's in a location can give us a lot of business.
Where?
The city jail.
Yeah, that's the Lion. Born under the sign of the dollar. Well, it happened on Monday night, and I found the Lincoln Heights jail looking real tired after a rough weekend. They were putting fresh creosote on the walls in front of the drunk tank, and the guy at the desk looked like he'd burst his radiator if anybody phoned for another reservation. It was about 1 a.m., but after a couple of jokes I know about alligators, Sergeant Gonzalez hauled out a drawer with some cards in it. Under C, he found it. Full name, David Crockett, cell 273, solitary. Gonzalez walked me through a couple of corridors, and then he opened his cell and let me inside. Davy Crockett was there, awake and standing up. He was about 4 feet high, skinny, with a head like a sunburned turnip. He had blue veins roaming all over his nose and a handlebar mustache to hold him up. He looked at me like I was holding the fifth ace.
Howdy, stranger.
My name's Regan, International Detective Bureau.
How do I know? Start anything and I'll set up a racket.
Now, I work for the Lion. You called him.
Maybe yes, maybe no. You got credentials?
Where do you want him?
Easy, son. Not talking to an amateur. Flyweight champion, Buenos Aires, 29. Grab yourself a squat, partner.
What are you so nervous about?
Nothing. Precautious, that's all.
All right, look, let's start at the beginning, shall we? What are you locked up for?
Fire plug. Got him in the dangest places in this burg.
What'd you do, steal it for your dog?
No. Parked my landlady's car alongside it while I ran an errand.
You don't get jugged for traffic tickets.
There were 2 cops. Looked like a posse. I don't like injustice.
All right, resisting arrest, is that all?
What more do you want? Told you I'm not a man to be trampled with. Taught judo in Tokyo, 34.
The Japs still lost the war.
Sit still, Regan. You're working.
On what?
Well, it's just another errand. It's not much.
Well, come on, let's pick up the tempo, will you? My bicycle's double parked.
Say, you ever get saddle sores on a bicycle? I did once. 8-day race.
Yeah, I know. Now, what about this errand?
Little package wrapped up in a sweater. In the alley by the ash can.
Go on.
I calculate I dropped it about 3.5 feet to the left of the big ash can.
By accident?
Man can't fight with his hands full. I wrote down the address for you here.
All right. What's in that sweater you didn't want the cops to see?
A polecat.
That fits the rest of your story, yeah.
Son, there's nothing in the life of Davy Crockett won't stand inspection. When you get the package, check it in at the Union Station.
And then what?
Save me the stub. You get 100.
Save it for bail. You could do this job yourself.
That's what I told you, Sonny. I'd like to be lonesome.
So you had him lock you up on purpose?
No, I just like it here. You want a reference? Check any of the boys in Gower Gulch.
Movie cowboy, huh?
Laddie, you're looking at the greatest jockey since Paul Revere. Eddie Sands to Eddie Arcaro. I beat them all. Kentucky Downs, 39.
Yeah, sure. Well, a job's a job, Davy, but I got a hot tip where I fit in.
Where's that?
Trailing the field. Well, I left the little man running his fingers through an old copy of Variety, and I went out into the street. It was about 3 o'clock, and a truck was throwing some water out and giving the gutter a shampoo. I picked up my car and started out to play retriever. That's when I spotted the blonde tailing me. She was using a 37 Packard, and the top was down. I could see her in the mirror. I could tell she had yellow hair like a rag doll. It took a few fast turns to get rid of her, but then I was solo when I pulled to a stop by the alley off Gower. It was in back of some old movie studios. About then, a drunk came pouring down the street, did a loop around a fire plug at the head of the alley, and sat down. He was the talented kind, and I figured he thought I was Arthur Godfrey. Well, I scrambled over some broken beer bottles looking for the sweater. It finally showed, lying beside a pack of newspaper and some dame's torn petticoat. That's when the drunk lost his tilt and began looking at me. I picked up an old shoe, I wrapped it in a newspaper, and I started out of the alley. The drunk went back to his audition, moving toward me.
Marie, the dawn is breaking. Marie, you'll soon be waking. Hiya, friend. Have a drink.
That's not my brand.
Don't be a mug. A little drink between friends is real nice.
Well, we haven't been introduced.
My name's Maxwell. What's yours?
Slipped my mind.
That's the trouble with the whole world. No fellowship. Except for my girl, Marie. You know Marie?
No, I don't.
Sort of short and plump with a little sinus trouble.
It's too bad.
Thought you might have met her. Lots of fellowship in that girl. Every time you look, another fella.
All right, move it, buddy.
Now, you don't want to get by me, friends. You want to stand right there and have a little drink.
You got the subject we're going to talk about?
Yeah, sure. Here, what's in the package?
Dirty laundry.
Ain't that funny, though? I just got me a new Bendix.
Why don't you go into business?
That's what I'm going to do. You're my first customer.
No, I lux my dainties.
Yeah, don't go away, friend. I ain't through with my sales talk.
Well, hire a skywriter.
Hold up, I said.
Get your hands off of me.
All right, Regan, the round's over.
Yeah, what makes you the referee?
This does.
Fendi wants to play rough, Red.
Reconsider, Regan. It'll make you happy.
All right, what do you want?
The package.
You heard what he said, smart guy.
Why don't you work for it?
Grab him, Max. Don't leave, Regan. We're not finished.
I got the package, Red.
Give him a tip for picking it up.
Sure.
Oh.
Guess I overpaid him.
see. It was their play. I had about as much chance as a midget in a basketball game. The muscles ambled off with the package that they took from me, and I crawled back for that sweater. It was still there, wrapped around something hard and round. And when I ripped it off, a shine caught my eye. It was a metal can of movie film, and the word Peru was marked on it. Not much for all the hush-hush, but it must have had a story. Well, I looked up a friend of mine who owned a camera shop, and I made a commotion with a $5 bill. That shook the sand out of him, and he rented me a projector with sound. The Lyons house was the next stop. We threw up a sheet on the wall and turned on the film. That completed the night. We had a trip to a good neighbor without a passport. Turned out to be a Joan Fitzpatrick giving us some kind of a travelogue.
The most colorful in the world. A temple of worship. Home of Peru, 2,000 years old. Perfect in a movie.
Well, stop screaming, will you? It's free.
You know I can't stand movies. I got sore eyes.
All right, shut up and listen to this.
New Peru. The marketplace. A street vendor dressed in gay native costumes, selling delicacies to Peruvian children. Beads and jewels of exquisite beauty wrought by the hands of master Peruvian artisans. Horse racing and innovations from the modern world. And native dance.
I'm going to bed.
You won't sleep. I stole your eyeshade.
Oh, Regan, I got to get up early. I got lots to do.
It'll keep.
A veritable symphony of motion. And so, it's with heavy heart we say adieu to lovely Peru, land of the Peruvians, land of charm and enchantment. And with the setting sun, we take our leave.
Well, what'd you get out of it?
A headache.
Yeah, we'll talk about it in the morning.
No, I can't wait.
What you doing now?
I'm phoning the city jail.
Looking for a room?
Looking for information. Davey will supply it.
You've been drinking.
Now listen, big shot. Somebody's after this film for some reason. I'm going to find it.
City jail, Sergeant Gonzalez speaking.
Danny's Regan.
Oh, hiya, Regan. I'm glad you called. I just got the joke about the alligators.
Now, well, do me a favor, will you?
Sure, pal, sure. See, I told it to the lieutenant. He's still laughing. You know, it may earn me a promotion, pal.
Let me talk to Davy Crockett.
Oh, I can't do that, Regan.
Well, you can say I'm his lawyer.
Well, it's not that, pal. He's not here anymore.
What do you mean?
Some guy bailed him out 20 minutes ago. When I was telling the lieutenant the joke, this guy in the briefcase comes in, slaps down the bail. Out walks your friend.
Well, he said he liked it there.
And Davey must have changed his mind.
Where'd he go?
Not very far. Just over to the morgue.
Well, the cowboy from Gower Gulch had spun his last yarn. Gonzalez told me that somebody had shot Crockett as soon as he hit the street. Oh, none of this made sense. The phony job, the blonde who tailed me, the fight in the alley, the corny movie. Now, the lion shoved the film in a desk, and I went out the door. I cut across his yard, but I stopped on the opposite sidewalk. My car wasn't alone. There was a 40-foot nag sniffing at its rear fender.
Hey, Regan.
Well, Maxwell.
That's me.
You look different. Did you take the cure?
Shut up. Somebody wants to see you.
If it's Marie, tell her my book's full.
Thought you might like a lift.
No, I got a friend who runs a streetcar, and I go on, beat it.
Regan, don't be that way.
Offer him a panatella, Maxwell.
Who's this, your father-in-law?
You smoke, Regan?
No, it might explode.
Yes.
So long.
Hold it, Dusty. Get in. Oh, Max. Max, I told you before, you're on probation.
That's all right. Don't pick on him, teacher. He didn't hurt me.
Get in front, Max.
Sure.
Where's your other boy, Red? We could play some bridge.
I thought he'd do better in the shoe business.
The one I gave him didn't fit, huh?
I'm a much misunderstood man, Mr. Regan. I'm sure you'll put your best foot forward.
I'd love to.
My card, Horace Grundy. Sometime earlier, a little man called me, Mr. Regan. Custer or Boone or...
Davy Crockett?
Of course. I want you to understand I get many such calls.
Party line.
It's a private number, but the salesmen bother me anyway.
Well, it's tough to be popular. Davy tell you what he was selling?
No.
Well, he didn't tell me either.
Have it your own way. When I told him I'd meet him, he said he'd arranged to get out of jail. He said all he wanted was a job.
And he got one.
Yes, only there's no future to it. I wouldn't want anything like that happening to you, Mr. Regan.
I'll renew my insurance.
Oh, no, you'll come with me. It's more friendly.
Suppose I don't like to talk.
You won't have to, if everything goes all right.
Well, it's your taxi.
And you're paying the fare. All right, Maxwell. Cloverfield.
I never knew a guy could say the name of an airport and make it sound like Forest Lawn. Grundy sat in the corner checking the manicure on his fingernails, and Maxwell drove out Olympic. By the time we skidded into Clover, I figured absolutely nothing. It was still only 4 a.m., but there was a string of cars parked in the lot. I spotted a 37 Packard Roadster, but I was too busy getting rushed up onto the field to look for the blonde. Besides, the faster we ran, the more excited Grundy got. And then we rounded a hangar, and the reporters hit us.
Say, Louis B's pretty sore, huh?
No. Louis B and I are friends. Just his plugs are burned. Put it through, boys.
Hey, wait a second. This Julio who's traveling on the plane. They say he wants $250,000. You going to pay him today?
After I see a workout. Come on, Regan, let's go.
Yeah, you're a real big man, Grundy.
I'm going to be, Regan. El Romano. Best rep of any horse in South America.
So that's it, huh? Where the ruins come from.
What's that?
Peru?
Oh, sure. Peruvian National Airways gave Julio a special plane. Everything special.
Like in the movies. Well, look, suppose you watch him unload. I'll take a back seat here.
Oh, no, Regan. This is a big day. I want you to see what's the ambulance for.
Well, don't look at me.
Stick around, Regan. It could be you.
Hey, get that stretcher over there.
Oh, he kicked me, hit me. It's Julio.
That the guy who owns him?
Must be. I tried to hold him, the halter black home, my rib.
Take it easy, boy. We got you.
What happened?
Bounce. The landing she is rough, that is all.
Where is the doctor?
We're going to the hospital. Lie down.
I'm broken in 6 places.
Lift up the stretcher. Come on, boys. Hurry it up.
Oh, he kicked me. Move fast, boys. Yes, hot.
Hey, Mr. Grundy, the horse!
Well, the guy on the plane started to yell just about the time they took Julio toward the rear of the ambulance. Grundy took a dive for the cargo door and so did everybody else. Then I had to stand there while 6 feet of big shot cigar turned into a crybaby.
Look, Regan. Look at the horse's leg. He's kicked himself.
Okay, so he's clumsy.
But he might not run again. He was going to be mine, Regan.
Well, that's too bad. Call a vet.
I have already paid $50,000 retainer on the horse, Regan.
I'll send you a lawyer.
I got an idea you're connected with this.
Oh, dry up, Buster. It's an accident.
Yeah? I got an idea there's going to be another accident.
Grundy, maybe you're right.
Go! Hey, stop him!
I didn't wait to see if he went down. Maxwell swung, but I took off through the crowd. It figured that Cloverfield wasn't for me, and I wasn't going to stick around for the daisies. And then I spotted a ride, the rear end of Julio's ambulance. I made it just as the buggy started to move. I pulled the door shut and tried not to step on that stretcher inside. I shouldn't even have bothered that. The stretcher was empty. The only patient was me.
You are listening to the story of the guy from Gower Gulch. Tonight's adventure with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Commissions are still available in the Army Nurse Corps Reserve. Graduate registered nurses between the ages of 21 and 45 may qualify for service with this fine organization. If you are interested in joining the Army Nurse Corps and believe that you qualify for a commission, apply to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. And now back to Jeff Regan, Investigator, and the story of the guy from Gower Gulch.
Well, things were beginning to move like a hula dancer with a hot foot. Davy Crockett sent me out to pick up a roll of movie film. A Joan Fitzpatrick travelogue on beautiful Peru. There was something in it that was hot, but Crockett got himself plugged before he could say what it was. There were shots of a horse race in Peru. And when a big buster named Grundy turns up buying a nag from a Peruvian breeder, I figured a connection. So did Grundy. When the horse got hurt and Julio did a disappearing act with his money, everybody looked at me. That's when I took the shortest way to Hollywood in an ambulance, got my car, and made it for home. Only parked up the street from my apartment was that same 37 Packard Roadster I'd been dodging all evening. The blonde wasn't in it. She was sitting in my place looking real hopeful.
Good evening. You keep late hours, Mr. Regan.
That's the kind of friends I've got.
Perhaps you ought to change them.
I'll stick it out. What do you want?
A little chance to talk to you.
It'll keep till morning.
Oh, but Mr. Regan, I've been waiting so long, you've got to talk to me now.
Why?
I'm Davy Crockett's wife. You've got something that belongs to me.
I don't see any wedding ring.
I don't wear one.
Scare off the other boys?
That's not a very nice remark, Mr. Regan.
No, but you'll let it go.
Only because it's not important.
Oh, stop it. You're not Davy's wife. If the little guy had anybody he could trust, he wouldn't have had to call him a lion.
All right, Mr. Regan. I lied.
Now, let's have it, lady. What are you after?
A roll of film.
That figures.
It's mine.
Convince me.
Mr. Regan, you're becoming very annoying.
Well, why don't you call the police?
But I tell you, it is mine.
Let's see the pink slip.
And so it is with heavy heart we bid adieu
That's
to...
enough. Yeah. I thought I knew that voice.
Davy stole the roll from my library. Now may I have it back?
Homicide will turn it over to you when they're ready.
I can't wait.
Well, what makes it so valuable?
I'm not sure.
And how do you know it is?
Because I'm not stupid, Mr. Regan. Somebody goes to a lot of trouble to break into my film library. But he only steals one roll of film.
Go on.
I put the police on Davy, follow them to the jail. So you go after the film. That adds up to pretty important business.
Did you push those holes in Davy?
Of course not.
Well, you're going to get a chance to prove that when Homicide starts speaking in your cupboard.
About the film, I'll buy it from you.
No sale. There's the door, lady. Use it. I threw the light switch and grabbed for the floor. When the noise stopped, I looked up. My landlady was going to be mad. The shots plowed a few holes into her flower pot. The blonde turned a couple of different colors and decided she could find safer company. She left with a fire escape without even goodbye. Well, I headed for the Lions. The idea being to make sure that he'd turn that film over to the police and advertise that I didn't have it anymore. That figured to cool me off and I could catch some sleep again. When I got there, the Lion looked kind of excited. He was wrapped up in a silk robe with red and gray stripes, and he carried a drink to match. He was holding a piece of that movie film up to the light.
Hey, Regan, I've been calling all over for you. Where you been?
I'm looking for a bed.
I don't pay you to sleep. You're on a job. Now, I've been thinking since you left. We're handling this wrong.
Yeah, now that's what I figure. Get on the phone.
What for?
To tell Homicide you got a package for him. You're turning over that film right now.
Easy.
You heard me, Big Shot. I'm tired of playing the fall guy.
Now, Regan, you don't know what you're saying. I've been running over the section on that Peruvian horse race. And you know what?
You picked the winner.
And we're going to collect.
Who's making books?
The insurance company.
Well, come on, clear it up.
Look at this clip.
Yeah.
Well, what do you see? What do you see?
Looks like a horse.
But look at him. He's way out in front. El Romano.
Yeah, maybe.
Now, here's the way I add it up. This film tells a story, or everybody wouldn't be grubbing around for it.
Well, now, that takes a big brain.
So somebody's engineering a phony.
Who?
That's what you're going to find out. But I'll tell you one thing. That nag's insured by Banner Trust, and they pay off big if we can turn up the swindle.
All right. Give me that picture.
Where you going?
Over to Grundy's to check the horse.
Now you're talking, Regan. You dig that out and we'll be eating squab.
Yeah.
And if you don't, you'll be collecting your unemployment insurance.
Yeah, well, payoff's about the same. I didn't like it any better than a fan dancer likes a wind tunnel. I'd already seen enough of Grundy and his boys for one night, but when the Lion gets an idea, he's like a hangman with a new rope. So I went out to test it. I found Horace Grundy's place. It was a bright new house in the San Fernando Valley. There was some fancy fence in back, and a stable looked like the paint was still wet where it said El Romano. A trailer was parked on the road with a truck from the veterinarians. When Grundy opened the front door, it looked like he'd been sitting a 3-day wake, but without any beer.
Hello, Regan.
Well, what's the verdict?
It's bad, Regan. Bad. Tendons torn. Never run. Never.
Yeah, you said that.
I can't believe it.
Uh-huh. I knew somebody else liked animals. A guy from Gower Gulch.
Decided to talk?
Maybe. If you keep your hands in the audience.
What else did Crockett say?
Now you got him on the wheel.
All right, you drive.
That's better. You know the horse is insured?
Not by me, it isn't.
You don't own it. You just paid a deposit.
Sure, 50 G's.
You got it back yet?
There's plenty of time. Julia was in the hospital.
Oh? Well, now, if it wasn't for the accident, you would have coughed up another $200,000.
Yes. No. Oh, what difference does it make? The whole deal's a bust now.
Well, that horse is a phony.
Say some more, Regan.
I don't know much more. Davy Crockett was a movie fan.
You're doing fine. You had pictures?
I wouldn't advertise them, but there's a shot of a horse winning a race. Take a look here.
Give me that.
All right, it's economy size. You're going to ruin your eyesight.
I got a magnifying glass for my income tax.
Well, let's get a light behind it. Now, let's see.
Horse.
You get a star.
4 white feet.
I can do that well myself.
Listen, Regan. Horse in the stable's got 3.
That does it. My boss gets promoted.
Come on outside. I'll show you.
No, I'll take your word for it. Let go of me. I got my information.
Maxwell, where are you?
I told you, don't whistle the bulldogs.
You're in it now, Regan. You're on my side.
I drop your blood pressure. There's a handkerchief on the plate.
Hey, wait. Hello. I look for somebody. Good morning.
Pan America.
See, I'm Julio. Is Mr. Grundy?
That's the guy with his mouth open there.
How do you do? I'm so glad to meet and
Shoot it.
Okay?
You switch horses.
No, you'll not understand. El Romano, he kicked me.
Wait for the encore.
Mr. Grundy, with belief, I'm telling you.
Now, look, you better make it fast, Julio. This guy goes
Shut
off.
up, Regan. A man trades a stretcher for a slab. Let him talk.
The hospital. I did not go. Julio is honest. A debt comes first.
The interest's going up.
When El Romano hurts himself, I know the deal is off. I know I must see the consul, so we cash the check.
What?
Here we are. 10,000, 20, 30, 40, 50. Your down payment is up. Now we are one big happy United Nations, no?
Well, that's what happened. Now there were two guys with their mouths open. By the time we got them closed, the little gent from Peru had waddled off someplace, and Grundy folded his money and started to laugh. He was happy, and at least I had what I came for. Figured I could dump the whole plate of spaghetti on the lion. The lead horse in the travelogue was a different nag from the one in the stable. So I got in my car and headed for home. But I picked up a newspaper on the corner, and then the whole bucket turned upside down again. The green sheet was loaded with publicity shots of El Romano from South America, and he was exactly the same oat burner that came in on the plane, feet and all. No switch there. Well, there was something phony in this act. It was that winner in that Fitzpatrick film. Well, for a minute I felt like a test pilot in a yo-yo factory, and then the string broke. I took a fast run to the Lions and one more look at those movies. I had it. The case was beginning to wind. 10 minutes later, I was back on Gower Gulch.
Yes? Who is it?
Regan, you alone?
Don't be insulting.
I'll open the door. What's the matter? You're slow.
What do you want?
Ask me in.
No.
Ask me in.
Regan, look out!
Be careful, Regan. I have a gun.
Well, Julio.
Yes, Julio.
What are you doing here?
Well, I told you.
I know. Back at my place, you're aiming at her, not me. She's been to Peru. She has the films. You knew that.
You whistle like I know it.
I go to the movies like everybody else. I keep my eyes on the winner. After Hollywood Park, I should have known better.
Yeah, there are lots of races.
El Romano was a dud. He came in last. 60 lengths with Davy Crockett digging in the spurs. You gave the nag a build-up, phony publicity to the sucker and insurance company.
$250,000, I was over.
Can it? You could have never closed a sale without Grundy watching a workout. That would have been a slow boat to China.
You want to be a sailor, too?
Oh, stop being tough, will you? You wore yourself out when you kicked up El Romano in that plane.
It looked good.
Not to me or Joan.
Look out, Regan. You're asking for a daily double.
Well, I'm going to take it across the board. Give me that gun.
Leave me
Stop
alone.
it.
No, you're breaking my arm.
That's the idea.
I'll kick you in the stomach.
You better go back to his stretcher.
Well,
Yeah.
you can be useful.
Well, when I'm working.
What about after hours? I'm not bad, you know.
No, I never noticed.
Look again.
No, I'm all through with the ponies.
Want to bet?
Davy Crockett told me to play my hunches.
Here I am.
Yeah, but you're a loser.
What do you mean?
You threw those holes into Davy.
It was Julio.
Oh, you're trying real hard, but he was on the plane.
What do I do now?
Well, you might bid a fondue to Gower Gulch.
That's not funny, Regan.
I know it. But you ran out of film. Well, the whole thing blew up like a hoop skirt in a high wind. Julio had a real good thing until he ran into the little man with a good memory and a dame with a fast trigger finger. Her blackmail pitch was already set up, but Davy figured to queer it, so she had to knock him off. Well, the hospital boys came after Julio, and homicide dated Joan, the travel queen. The Lion was pretty excited about the way things worked out. He figured that the insurance company would come across with some green stuff for exposing a fraud. They did. That was the color of the season pass they gave him to the Burton Holmes travel lectures.
Jack Webb is featured as Jeff Regan with Herb Butterfield as Anthony J. Lyon. It's CBS at the same time next week for more hard-boiled action and mystery with Jeff Regan, Investigator. Written by Larry Roman and Jackson Gillett, produced by Sterling Tracy. Included in tonight's cast were Leo Clary, Clayton Post, Yvonne Patey, Ed Begley, and Herb Ellis. 29,000 nurses are needed to join the new Army Nurse Corps Officers Reserve. For the first time in history, qualified nurses have the opportunity of receiving commissions in the regular Army Reserve. These nurses will remain on inactive status, ready to serve their country in time of emergency. 4,000 of them, if they wish, may choose active duty. All nurses who receive commissions will benefit from the opportunity for specialized training offered to them by the Army. Inactive reserve status will not interfere with the nurse's civilian life, but the educational opportunities offered her by the Army Medical Department will be of a great advantage in her work. Don't wait. If you're a registered graduate nurse between the ages of 21 and 45, drop a card for complete information to the Adjutant General, Washington, D.C. Original music for this program is by Milton Charles, Bob Stevenson speaking. This is CBS, the Columbia Broadcasting System.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. An unidentified woman is found murdered in a hotel room. Cause of death, strangulation. There's no lead to the identity of the killer. Your job, find him. The latest Fatima sales report shows thousands and thousands of king-size cigarette smokers are switching to Fatima.
For the month of October, coast-to-coast actual figures show Fatima sales are up 110%, or more than double.
Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes. Definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
Remember, thousands of Americans are switching to extra-mild Fatima. Next time, insist on the best, king-size Fatima, in the distinctive golden yellow package.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, October 27th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 1:35 p.m. when we got to the old Central Jail building, 3rd floor, the crime lab.
How you doing, Lee? Hi, Ben. Joe?
How's it going? Did you check the stuff yet?
Yeah, most of it. Come on back here.
Okay.
Well, this is all of it.
Did you find anything we can get a lead out of?
Nothing too good, no. I don't think you could identify it from what we've got here. The morgue post the body yet?
Yeah, just this morning. How about fingerprints, Lee? They find any in that hotel room?
No foreign prints, no. Dead end there.
What about the woman's purse? Did it show anything?
No chance. You can see the fabric here. Won't take a print.
Yeah.
Contents of the purse here, usual stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Comb, lipstick, keychain, 1 key on it, half pack of chewing gum, coin purse, a dime, 2 nickels in it. That's all of it.
Yeah. According to the room clerk at the hotel, she had a wallet with her when she checked in. There's no sign of that, was there?
Nope. No sign of it in the hotel room either. Checked everything.
Is that the only piece of jewelry found on the body, that wedding ring there?
Yeah, it's a cheap ring. No markings on it. No way of tracing it. About the only thing I can tell you, she was pretty well dressed. That's an expensive bag there.
Yeah.
Sure not a cheap dress either. Same for a coat and shoes. They cost some money, too.
How about labels on any of that stuff?
One on the coat.
Yeah?
You can see right here. Benwood Department Store, Los Angeles. Coat's fairly new. They might be able to give you something on it.
Yeah, maybe.
The people at the hotel, got anything there?
Well, it could have been better, Lee. The woman checked in last night around 8 o'clock. She registered as John Ross and wife, L.A.
Anyone see the man with her?
No, nobody. Room clerk says the woman came in alone. She said her husband was out parking the car, so she registered for both of them.
Mm-hmm.
Clerk said he left the desk a few minutes after that. Figures the man must have come in sometime while he was gone. Nobody on duty at the desk after midnight. He could have left the hotel any time after that without being seen.
She registered at 8 p.m. The coroner says she died about 10:30.
You're not even sure there was a man with her, eh?
Yeah, the woman who was registered next door to the murder room, she told us she heard a man and a woman arguing. It was about 10 o'clock. Said it got pretty loud.
No idea who the woman really was, huh? I suppose that John Ross and wife business doesn't mean anything.
That's pretty doubtful. About all we got to go on is the physical description from the coroner. She was a small woman, 5'1", 99.25 pounds, wasn't that it, Ben?
Yeah.
Brown hair, blue eyes, about 31, 32 years old. We got her prints off to Washington.
Got any ideas?
We figured maybe it could be a psycho killer.
How'd you figure?
The coroner's report listed strangulation as the cause of death.
Yeah?
Whoever did it made sure her neck was broken. At approximately 6 o'clock that morning in a second-floor room of a downtown hotel, the body of an unidentified woman was found murdered. Preliminary investigation failed to reveal the true identity of the victim or the killer. As far as physical evidence was concerned, there wasn't much to go on. The deep bruises on her neck and throat, along with the crushed vertebrae at the base of her skull, indicated a savage attack. 1:55 p.m. Through the label on the dead woman's coat, we traced the garment to a department store where it had been purchased, but they had no record on it. It was a cash purchase, and the salesgirl couldn't remember the customer. Investigation during the next 2 days failed to turn up any leads. We showed a morgue picture of the victim to bartenders, waitresses, parking lot attendants in the vicinity of the hotel. They couldn't identify her. We rechecked tenants and employees at the hotel. That got us nothing. Thursday, 5:48 p.m.
One answer I'd sure like to find.
Yeah?
The victim was a nice-looking woman, well-dressed, nice clothes. How come she'd stay in a cheap hotel down the neighborhood like that? It doesn't jibe for my money.
Well, that's hard to say.
Sure got me stopped. 2 days leg work and we're no play.
Well, we might be in better shape when we get that kickback from Washington.
I sure hope so.
Go ahead.
Hey, excuse me?
Well, yes, sir. Can we help you?
Well, no, I don't know. Guess it all depends. I'm waiting for a couple of detectives here.
Well, who is it you wanted to see?
A couple of detectives.
Well, who are they?
Well, it's pretty confidential, you know. I have to talk to them. They told me to see Friday and Romero. Ben Friday and Joe Romero, detectives handling the case.
Yes, sir. I'm Joe Friday. This is my partner, Ben Romero. We're handling the case. What do you want to see us about?
You said you were working on that murder case? That woman they found in the hotel?
Yes, sir. That's right.
That's so? I see your badges?
Yes, sir. Here's our identification.
Mm-hmm. Read about that murder in the paper, you know. You better come over here.
Yeah.
You're going to thank me for this. I got all you want to know about that murder.
You mind telling us your name, sir?
I don't mind. Al P. Morgan. I was a good friend of hers, you know. Used to work with her.
You mean the dead woman?
It's the same one. I never forget her face, Maud McLeod. Saw that picture in the paper, and I said to myself, there's old Maud.
You're pretty sure of that, are you, Mr. Morgan?
Sure, I'm sure. Maud McLeod. Used to work together in the circus. Maud was a bareback girl, you know, best in the country, real trooper.
What makes you so sure it's the same woman, Mr. Morgan? When was the last time you saw this friend of yours, this Maud McLeod?
Well, I used to see her all the time. Worked the old Sells photo together. Got a photo of her.
You mind if we take a look at it, sir?
That's why I came down here. I want to help out. She's got to be identified. Well, let's see. Got it here somewhere. It's old Maud in her circus costume. Yeah, here it is. Take a look at that. It's Maud, ain't it?
Well, I don't know, sir. Doesn't seem to be too much resemblance here.
Is that right?
Afraid you've made a mistake, Mr. Morgan. Thanks for your cooperation anyhow. Appreciate you coming in.
Well, sure, it was Maud.
I get it. Homicide Friday. Oh, yeah, Frank. Uh-huh. Is that right? What did it say? Huh? Yeah. Okay, fine. No, we'll pick it up. Yeah, thanks.
Anything?
Communications. They got the kickback from Washington on the dead woman's fingerprints.
Any luck?
They got her identified. She worked at an aircraft plant during the war. Name's Doris Frazier.
I can't help but think you fellas are missing a bet. I knew that dead woman.
Well, she's already been identified, Mr. Morgan. We know who she is. Her name's Doris Frazier.
That's so?
Yes, sir, that's right.
Well, what do you think of that? Old Maud. She went and changed her name.
Thursday, 6:35 p.m. Ben and I went down the hall to communications and got a copy of the kickback from Washington. The murder victim was identified as Doris Eileen Frazier. She applied for a position as a typist at the Eagle Aircraft plant in Burbank in 1942. Next morning, we checked the personnel office at the plant, and we found that Doris Frazier had been employed as a typist from 1942 to 1944. In going over her application, we found her last known address listed as 7346 Oakdale Avenue. Her application stated she was single, with no previous employment, with no known relatives. We could uncover no further information on the girl. We drove across town to the Oakdale Avenue address, a large apartment building in a better-than-average neighborhood. The manager told us that Doris Frazier had lived there up to 8 months before. He said that a few weeks before she moved, she was married to a tall, dark-haired man, but he was unable to remember his name. The manager also told us that the newly married couple apparently began having trouble from the day that they were married. We checked the next forwarding address, a boarding house for women in the south end of the city. Ben and I interviewed the woman in charge of Mrs. Frances Watson. We talked to her back in the kitchen of the boarding house while she polished a set of silverware.
I saw that picture in the paper. I didn't connect it with Doris, though. She was a much prettier girl when she lived here.
You say she left here about 18 months ago, Miss Watson?
Yes, maybe a little more. Might be closer to 2 years. I'd have to check my rent receipts to be sure.
Did you happen to know anything about the Frazier girl, Miss Watson? I mean, did you know much about her personal life at all?
Well, of course, I always insist on references. Any good boarding house does, you know. Doris was a nice girl in many ways. Of course, she had her shortcomings. I suppose we all do. When she first came here, she seemed like such a nice girl, and then she started to go downhill. I just don't know what got into her.
Well, how do you mean, ma'am? Was she in some kind of trouble?
Well, of course, when she first came here, we didn't know it, but she was married. This is a home for single girls, and we have our rules and regulations just like any other respectable place.
Yes, ma'am, we understand.
Well, as we came to find out later, Doris wasn't only married, but she was fighting with her husband. I understand he wasn't much at all. She was thinking of getting a divorce, as a matter of fact.
Well, did you ever meet her husband, Miss Watson?
No, I never did. I suppose it's just as well I didn't. I understand that Doris left him after they'd been married only a few months.
Mm-hmm. Do you know what his name is, ma'am?
No, I have no idea. Or Doris always used her maiden name when she was with me.
Then you never saw this man, Miss Watson? He never came to the house here?
No, I didn't say I never saw him. I said I didn't meet him. Yes, there was once when he came to the house to see Doris.
And what was the occasion? You mind telling us about it?
Oh, it was most unpleasant, I can tell you that. Let me see now. Yes, Doris had been here about 6 months. Even by that time, I was beginning to see the real side of the girl. No character, Sergeant. No character at all. It shows up every time.
Yes, ma'am. Wonder if you'd go on, please.
Well, as I was saying, it was after about 6 months when this man brought Doris home late one night, about a quarter till midnight, I'd say. Upset the whole house.
How was that, ma'am?
The two of them, this man and Doris, they stood right out there in the hall, had a terrible quarrel. The language, it was dreadful. The top of their lungs, too. My husband went out to quiet them down, but the man left before he had a chance to calm him down. He upset the whole house.
Uh-huh. Now, this man that the Frazier woman was arguing with, you're sure that was her husband?
Well, as sure as I can be. That's what Doris told me, anyway, the day after. I called her in and told her I just couldn't tolerate behavior like that. It upset her quite a bit, I remember. She cried, said it wouldn't happen again. That's when she told me she was trying to get a divorce.
Is that what the big argument was about? Would you know that?
Yes, she said she wanted a divorce. Her husband didn't. He wanted her back with him. Certainly is sad the way some people mix up their lives.
Yes, ma'am. By any chance, did you get a good look at this man, husband, I mean?
Well, he was tall and had dark hair. That's about all I remember. He was well-dressed, too.
I see. When Doris Frazier left here, Mrs. Watson, did she leave a forwarding address with you?
No, she didn't. I haven't any idea where she moved.
What kind of work was she doing while she was living here? Do you have any idea where she was employed?
Yes, that was one of the references she gave me. Furniture company. Down on Venice Boulevard, if I remember correctly. I have the address in my record book. Certainly is unfortunate, the whole thing.
Yes, ma'am, it is.
He even tried to talk to her before she left. Sat her down and talked to her for a whole afternoon. I guess it was just a waste of time.
How's that, ma'am?
Trouble with her husband. Terrible thing. He seemed to treat her so badly, two of them fighting all the time. I believe she was actually afraid of him. She told me he was very jealous. He drank, ran around. That's why I couldn't understand it.
You couldn't understand what, ma'am?
Doris, when she moved away from here.
Yes, ma'am?
She said she was going back with her husband.
The landlady, Frances Watson, gave us the address of the furniture store where the murder victim had been employed, and we drove down to check with the personnel manager, a Mr. Collins. He said that Doris Frazier had been fired from her job 10 months before. He said she'd been let go because she was constantly late for work and that she got into the habit of asking for salary advances too often. Collins also told us that he'd heard about the trouble between the Frazier woman and her husband. He said he'd seen the husband in the store several times when he came to call for his wife. He identified the husband as Stephen Arnold. The description was approximately the same, a tall, well-dressed man, dark hair, heavy build. The personnel manager gave us the last known address they had on the victim. The following morning, we checked it out, an apartment hotel in the East Wilshire area. She was still registered there, together with her husband, Stephen Arnold, but the desk clerk told us that Arnold hadn't been living there for the past 3 months. He had no idea where Arnold had moved. He didn't know where he worked. While the desk clerk stood by, Ben and I went upstairs and checked the apartment.
Anything, Joe?
No, nothing.
Nothing in the bedroom. Like Lee says, she goes in for nice clothes, about all I can figure. Well, what you got there?
I see it lying on the desk here. Looks like she started a letter and didn't get to finish it.
What's it say there?
Well, it's dated October 23rd. That's over a week ago. It says, Dear George, I've been meaning to write to you before, but... And that's all. That's as far as she got.
George. First time we've run into that name on this deal. Makes more than one man in her life.
Yeah, there's a couple more letters here. They're all addressed to her, unopened.
Let's see.
All we can go by are the return addresses. Telephone bill, ad from a woman's store, postcard, another ad. Here's something. Santa Monica postmark.
Check the name on that return.
Yeah, Stephen Arnold. 12:35 p.m. We called the office and checked Stephen Arnold through R&I. He had no criminal record. The return address, which he'd listed on the envelope of the letter to his wife, was 10826 Pacific Front Boulevard. We located it on the beach just below Santa Monica. It was a small hamburger stand owned and operated by the dead woman's husband.
No, I haven't seen Doris for a couple months anyway. Why?
I understand you had an apartment with your wife in the East Wilshire neighborhood. Is that right, Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, that's right.
Mind telling us why you left?
No, I don't mind. I want to move closer to my work, that's all. That place is way too far out.
Well, how is it your wife didn't move with you, sir?
She wanted to stay close to town. Doesn't care for the beach much. Bad for his sinus, I guess.
Well, did you have an argument with your wife, Arnold? Some kind of a disagreement? Is that one of the reasons you moved?
Yeah, you might call it that. We're getting a divorce.
That's so?
Yeah, it was the best thing all the way around. Did nothing but fighting and scrapping the last year anyway. We decided to call it quits. Will you excuse me a minute? I got to put some cold drinks in this cooler here.
Yeah, go right ahead.
Would either of you care for a cold drink?
No, no thanks.
Coke, maybe?
No thanks.
Did you get the divorce from your wife, Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, that's right. I'm divorcing her. Why do you want to know?
You remember that last time you saw your wife, the exact date, I mean?
No, I don't think I remember that. Been at least 3 months, I'll say that much.
You spend most of your time down here at the beach, do you, Mr. Arnold?
Yeah, that's right. I get into town once or twice a month. They sure you would like a Coke?
No, thanks.
I think I'll have one myself if you don't mind. Sure, I get a cold one here. Water sure is cold.
How about last Tuesday night, sir? You happened to be in town that night?
Oh, last time was 2-3 weeks ago anyway. Went in to see a show. I was working here last Tuesday night. Work every night except Monday. It's the only night I'm closed up.
Is there anyone who can vouch for that?
I don't think I get this. Why do you want to know?
Well, is there anybody who can vouch for you?
Well, sure. 6 people anyway. A fellow runs a place next door. The guys in the rest of the stalls up and down the way here, they can all vouch for me. I work till 1 a.m., same as usual. Here, just a minute. Hey, Vic? Vic? Yeah, Steve. Hop over here for a minute. Something I want to talk to you about.
Yeah, just a minute.
Okay, Vic, thanks. He'll be right over. Hey, you fellas want a cup of coffee or anything?
No, I wouldn't. Like to have change for that cigarette machine, though, if you don't mind.
Oh, sure. There you are.
Oh, thanks.
Yes, Steve? Hey, these fellas are detectives, Vic. Guess about some kind of jam my wife got into. They want to know where I was last Tuesday night.
Yeah?
They want somebody to vouch for me.
Sure.
Did you see Mr. Arnold last Tuesday night?
I was working next door. Steve was here all night.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Millions heard it, yet only 52 have written.
Starting on Dragnet over 2 months ago, on September 20th to be exact, Fatima made a special money-back offer to more than 10 million listeners. The results? Amazing.
Millions heard it, yet only 52 have written.
If you smoke king-size cigarettes, listen to Fatima's famous offer.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy their extra mildness and superbly blended tobaccos. If you're not convinced, Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking. Just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas before December 1st, and we'll give you your money back plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
Fatima's latest sales report shows Fatima sales up in every state in America. The month of October, coast to coast, actual figures show Fatima sales up 110%, or more than double.
Yes, thousands and thousands of Americans are switching to king-size Fatima. So why wait? Switch to Fatima today. Extra mild. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Saturday, October 31st, 2 p.m. Ben and I checked with a dozen different concession operators in the neighborhood of Stephen Arnold's eating place. They all corroborated the fact that on the night his wife had met her death in a downtown hotel, Arnold had been working at his stand until 1 a.m. Despite all the previous indications that he might have been responsible for the murder of his wife, we had to eliminate him as a possible suspect. 2:20 p.m. On the way back into town, we stopped by the apartment hotel where Doris Fraser was living at the time of her murder. After checking further with the tenants and with the help in the building, we found out that the victim had been in the habit of eating most of her meals at restaurants in the immediate neighborhood. After some 2 hours of checking and running into 6 restaurants, we found a small coffee shop 4 blocks from the apartment building where one of the waitresses identified Doris Fraser's picture.
Yeah, that's her, officer. Terrible picture, though. She looks so much older.
About how often would you say Miss Fraser came in here, ma'am?
Well, 3 or 4 times a week, I'd say. The bus stop's right out there on the corner. She'd usually have breakfast and grab the bus and go to work. Some nights coming home from work, she'd stop in here for dinner. Nice girl, quiet.
Did you get to know her at all, miss? I mean, did you happen to know any of her friends here in the neighborhood?
No, as I say, she was a quiet person, not very talkative. Usually read while she was eating, book or magazine.
Uh-huh. Did she ever come in here with anyone else? Do you know that?
Yeah, quite a few times. She seemed to have a boyfriend. Of course, she was attractive, small, you know, but real cute looking.
Do you happen to know any of these men?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Any one of them in particular she came in with very often?
Well, let's see. I think there was one, blonde, good dresser, kind of tall, good looking. They usually came in together for breakfast.
How long ago was this, miss? Do you recall?
Oh, say up until a couple of weeks ago. I usually waited on him in the morning. That's how I happen to remember.
I see. Did you ever happen to hear this man's name?
Let me see. George, I think that was it, yeah.
Would you happen to know if he lives in the neighborhood?
No, I'm sorry, I don't.
Has this man been in here during the past week, you know?
Yes, he has. He came in for breakfast.
What day was that?
This morning.
Before we left the coffee shop, we questioned the cashier who came up with the information that the man known as George usually left his car parked at the service station across the street. We left our card and asked the cashier to call us in case the suspect returned. At the service station, they also remembered the man known as George, but they told us he hadn't been in for the past month. They'd done some work on his car for him in the past, so they had a record of his license number. We called our DMV and found that the car was registered to a Carl Lucy in East Hollywood. 4:45 p.m. We drove out and interviewed Lucy at his home, but he came nowhere near the description of the suspect. He told us that he had purchased the car 6 weeks before from a man known as George Crane. He described Crane as tall, blonde, and well-dressed. From the bill of sale, we got Crane's address, a motel on East Manchester. The manager there told us that George Crane had moved a week before. He said that Crane had left no forwarding address, but he did remember where he worked. He was a driller in one of the oil fields down in Long Beach. We checked the oil company's personnel office downtown, but they were closed for the day. 6:18 p.m. We went back to the office and pulled the package on George Crane from R&I.
Get anything on him?
Yeah, he's got a record. Here's the package here.
Yeah.
Nothing very heavy. Drunk charge 2 years ago. Another one last year. Disorderly conduct. Resisting arrest. That's about all.
Let's see. Yeah, description checks out all the way.
You called the night office of that oil company, did you?
Yeah, they couldn't tell us anything. Said call back first thing in the morning. Want to reach you?
I got it, yeah. Homicide, Friday. Who? How's that? Oh, yeah, sure. Yes, sir. No, sir, I'm afraid not. Yeah, thanks anyway. You bet. Yeah, goodbye. Well, that does it.
Who was?
That guy who was in here the other day. You remember that Alfred P. Morgan or whatever it was?
Oh, what did he want?
Wanted to buy us a drink. He's celebrating.
Huh?
His old friend Maud. He just found her. 8 a.m. the next morning, we checked with the personnel department of the oil company's downtown offices. They told us that George Crane was employed as a driller, that he'd been working for the company for the past 5 years and that he had a good employment record. They told us he was on the day shift and that he was scheduled to report for work on Rig 619 at the Long Beach field at 8 o'clock that morning. Ben and I got in the car, drove down to Long Beach, where we located the murder suspect, George Crane, at work in the field.
Doris Frazier? No, I'm sorry, Sergeant. I don't think I know anybody by that name. How about Doris Arnold, Mr. Crane? Would you know anybody by that name? Arnold? No, I'm afraid not. What's it all about? You own a car, do you, sir? Yeah, that's it right over there, that dark sedan. Yeah. Have you had it long? Oh, I've had it a couple of weeks. Last one I had was giving me a lot of trouble. Did you trade it in? No, I sold it to a private party. Fell out in Hollywood. You mind taking a look at this picture, Mr. Crane? Yeah. It doesn't look like anybody I know. Why, am I supposed to? We think you should, yes, sir. I don't think I follow you. Do you spend any time around the East Wilshire district, Crane? East Wilshire, you said? Yeah. No, I've probably been over there a couple of times. Not lately, though. How about the coffee shop on the corner of Gramercy and Marengo? You ever been in there? Not that I remember, no. Well, a waitress in that coffee shop and the cashier, too, they say they've got a pretty regular customer. He fits your description exactly. You sure you've never been in there? Well, I'm not positive. I wouldn't swear I've never been in the place. What's the difference, anyway? Well, how about that service station across the street from the coffee shop? You ever parked your car there? They ever do any work on it for you? Oh, say, I bet I know the place you're talking about. Yeah, I've been there quite a few times. Good station. They've done some good jobs on the car for me. I remember it now. Well, then I guess you remember the coffee shop. Crane? Yeah, I think I do now. Right across the street from the station, that it? Yeah, that's right. Well, what do you want to know about it? When's the last time you were in there, Crane? Well, tell you the truth, I couldn't be sure. Well, we talked to a waitress in there yesterday. She said you were in that morning for breakfast. Do you remember that? She's way off the track on that one, I can tell you that. I wasn't near the place yesterday morning. Well, the cashier remembers you, too. She says you were in. How about it, Crane? Look, what difference does it make? What's this thing all about, anyway? You want to take another look at this picture? Well, I told you once, I don't know the woman. I never saw her before in my life. Why don't you give it some thought? Huh? I said, why don't you give it some thought? You remembered East Wilshire. You remembered the service station. You finally remembered the coffee shop. Maybe you can remember her if you try. I tell you, I don't know her. I never saw her in my... Look, let's go in the shed where we can hear each other, huh? All right. Yeah, that's a little better, huh? The waitress in the place says you were in there quite a few times with a woman. You usually came in for breakfast. You stopped going there about 2 weeks ago. I don't know her. What's the matter, Clint? You figure you got something to hide? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know her. What do you figure she's got to do with me, anyway? We checked her apartment, mister. We found a letter she was writing to you. You about ready to tell us? What's a letter? That doesn't mean anything. Can't prove anything by the letter. What are you thinking, anyway? We think you're lying, Crane. We think you got a reason for it. What do you say? Doesn't prove anything. Maybe I knew her. That doesn't mean anything at all. We think it does. Yeah? We think you killed her. That the way it looks to you? That's the way it looks. I don't think you can prove it. We're going to try. Now, how about it? Will it go any easier for me if I admit it? That's not up to us. I don't know why I did it. What am I going to give for a reason? I don't know why I killed her. I wouldn't know, Crane. Didn't really have any reason. That sounds funny, doesn't it? No reason at all. I just killed her. What am I going to tell him? If I don't have a reason, how can I ask him to let me off easy? How can I ask him? I don't know, but they'll have an answer.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On February 8th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 92, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
And now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you. Friends, all of us on Dragnet sincerely hope that all of you enjoyed a happy Thanksgiving. And now, for a moment, we'd like to look ahead, pass along a gift suggestion for the coming holidays. Your neighborhood dealer now has Fatimas in colorful, smart Christmas wrappers. You'll find they make a perfect gift. Fatima's extra mildness and better flavor, Fatima quality, is bound to please every king-size cigarette smoker. Remember, this holiday season, give your friends Fatima in the distinctive new Christmas carton. Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes.
George Martin Crane was tried and convicted in Superior Court of murder in the first degree. He is now serving a life term in the state penitentiary. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles.
Next, Counter Spy fights international intrigue. Stay tuned to NBC.
Ladies and gentlemen, the American Broadcasting Company brings to its entire network one of radio's most unusual programs. Pat Novak, For Hire.
Sure. I'm Pat Novak. For hire. That's what the sign out in front of my office says. Pat Novak for hire. You gotta put it in block letters because down on the waterfront in San Francisco there's a price tag on everything. You gotta do that or marry a rich widow. I don't like to work that hard, so I rent boats and do anything else that's cash and carry. Oh, it's all right if you don't mind trouble, because that's one thing you can't duck. It's like trying to dance the minuet in skis, and the best trouble always looks good from the outside. You're all smiles and feel like a kid opening a hand grenade under the Christmas tree. I found that out Tuesday night. It was around 7 o'clock. I was getting ready to close the office when this little guy showed up. He was about the size of a golf bag with arms. And if he had a cigar box, he could see over a pool table. He walked up to the desk and started talking in a voice that made you think he was trying to put Lily Pons out of work.
Hello, you Novak?
You're doing all right so far. What's on your mind?
I'm Jackie Gregg. You heard of me, huh?
You're the shy type, I know.
I'm Jackie Gregg, the jockey. You heard of me, huh?
All right, now I heard of you. Put the show on the road.
I'm looking for a horse. You want to find me a horse?
Yeah, I breed him in the back room. What color do you want?
You're so tough I got to take that from you?
Calm down before you wind up in a boys' choir. If you got anything to sell, put it on the line or beat it.
I'm riding a horse tomorrow called Fleet Lady. She's disappeared.
She's not here.
I'm supposed to ride the 6th race with her tomorrow, the Bonanza Handicap, and she's gone.
All right, she's gone. Maybe your horse likes to go out at night. I haven't seen her. Get to the point.
I'll give you $200 to find that horse. Somebody took her in a van. I trailed her down here at the waterfront.
But you lost him up at the ferry building.
That's right. Something funny's going on. My mount disappeared, and you gotta find her.
This is a big waterfront, and where's the $200?
You'll get that all right. Down by Pier 19. The van turned in. Think you can find Fleet Lady?
I don't know. Who owns her?
Woman named Sybil Thornton. She's mixed up, I think.
Yeah. Why steal your own horse?
I don't know. Run a ringer, maybe.
That's a tough trick.
This woman's got some good ones. You want the $200?
Yeah. How are the odds?
What's the difference? You're gonna open a book? You better take the $200 now.
Yeah, the dough will keep. You sound frightened, Junior.
And you sound nosy. Here's the $200. I want you to find the horse. You let me know at the Kingston Hotel, huh?
Sure.
And if you don't find anything around the waterfront, maybe you better try the track. Ask around there.
Yeah. By the way, how do you fit in? How come you got $200 interest in that horse?
Maybe I love horses. What do you care if maybe I love horses?
I don't. A guy like you's got to love something. Oh, yeah, it was a sweet proposition. A jockey in search of a horse. There's something phony about the whole thing. I had the $200, but I didn't feel good. It was like a guy stealing a murder gun to help out on a scrap metal drive. Well, after the little guy left, I closed the office and started to hit the docks, but it didn't work out. You know, you can buy good whiskey these days, so you feel funny walking up to some guy on the pier and asking, "Have you seen a racehorse around here, mister?" By 9, I was sure the horse wasn't around, so I borrowed a car and drove out to the track. I found out where Sybil Thornton's horses were quartered and headed down that way. It was pretty dark, so when I bumped into her, all I got was a vague outline. She had a good-looking vague outline.
Oh, I'm very sorry.
Yeah, I'm full of regrets, too. Shall we try it again?
But you're a little mixed up in your animals. They keep horses here.
You don't seem to mind.
No, you lean nicely, but you'd probably feel safer with a platform.
Well, we try this again when I've had 3 good meals. That's a horse.
Yes, I know. In fact, I own her.
I see. That'd make you Sybil Thornton.
Yes, what would it make you?
A guy named Pat Novak looking for your horse. I was hired in the waterfront to find her.
My, they grow big on the waterfront. You must get a lot of sun. By the way, is Fleet Lady missing?
Your jockey says she is. That's why I'm snooping around.
Didn't know he had any friends.
She's got a checkbook. How about Fleet Lady? Is she tucked in bed?
Yes.
Well, let's take a look, huh?
Find it very dull, Mr. Novak.
Yeah, that's what they said to Anthony. Let's see the horse.
Suit yourself. She's down this way.
Okay.
I'm doing this out of the bigness of my heart. I think you're wasting my generosity, Mr. Novak.
I don't use it all this trip.
She's in the stable. Come on. Down about here. Fleet Lady's stall. Here. The flashlight on the wall.
All right.
Oh, poor thing.
Do horses die broke, too? Who is it? Fleet Lady?
Yes. Are you satisfied?
No, I'm going to ring up headquarters.
You crazy.
Then I'm going to call Jackie Gregg and tell him his hunch paid off.
I wouldn't do that, Mr. Novak.
Stop kidding me, sweetheart. She didn't get killed in a fight with another horse. Gregg figured somebody was tilting the machine. That's why Fleet Lady's dead. That's why I'm going to call headquarters.
Suit yourself, but remember what happened to Fleet Lady.
You getting tough, Angel?
No. You just wouldn't look good with a saddle, Mr. Novak.
Well, I watched her as she turned and walked out of there. It was the kind of a walk that makes you flip the calendar and find out how far away spring is. I looked around a while, but it didn't do any good. The place was full of doors, so whoever killed Fleet Lady got out easy, like a rumor at a church picnic. I closed the door and went down the line to call headquarters. As I stood in there talking, I saw Sybil Thornton drive away. It was a long convertible with red asbestos seat covers. After I called headquarters, I went back and waited near the stable. About a half hour later, a police car pulled up, and when I saw who got out, I began to get unhappy, like a 3-legged man in a ballet school. It was Hellman from Homicide, and he had a squad with him.
All right, I'll talk to him. Hello, Novak. Where's your trainer?
Your boys get paid to laugh at you, Hellman. I don't.
Yeah, where's the horse?
What are you doing on the case?
I came for the ride. You mind, Novak?
No, I just wondered if they wised up downtown.
Huh?
Because you could find a dead horse, Hellman. If they staked it out in the middle of Market Street, you'd find it before long.
I'll try this time. Where is it?
Stall 18 over there.
Keep an eye on him, boys. I'll be back in a minute. In here, Novak?
Yeah, the one with the teeth like yours.
You better shut up, Novak.
Don't get jumpy. You haven't seen the horse.
Just shut up, huh?
It wasn't going to be much of a conversation anyway.
What color horse was that, Novak?
What do you mean? Take a look at it.
Yeah, I did. I just took a look. It's a smart horse, Novak.
What?
That's right. That dead horse in there is wearing a double-breasted suit.
Hellman got the message straight. I walked in and took a look. Jackie Gregg was lying there on the floor as dead as last year's love. The sickness didn't show until we rolled him over on his stomach. Somebody had gone duck hunting in the middle of his back. I began to feel a little sick myself, and I was ready to send up for the same gun when Hellman started to talk.
You forgot to mention the guy when you phoned headquarters.
He wasn't there. I was in here before, and the guy wasn't around.
What was he doing under the horse?
I don't know. Hellman, maybe he crawled out of a crack. I don't know. There were 2 shots. I came in and found the horse.
Yeah?
Check the horse.
You're trying to tell me the horse shot back? Who is he?
A guy by the name of Jackie Gregg. He gave me $200 to find a missing horse.
Yeah?
A horse called Fleet Lady running in tomorrow's handicap. This is the end of the line.
How do you know it's the same one?
I don't. Maybe you got to be a horse to tell. Why don't you ask one of your boys? Yeah, your boy's real tough. Call him off, Hellman.
He's nasty. We all hate him, Novak.
It's all right. I'll put it on your bill, Hellman.
That's good. You can write it up at headquarters.
Hellman, you ought to rent an idiot. The heavy thinking's too much for you.
I can piece this together. We come out here and find a dead man with you kicking up dust 40 feet away.
Look, Hillman, I didn't kill the guy and call up headquarters. I know they're bad in homicide, but I'm not that big-hearted.
We got a spare hook for you, Novak. That's where you stay until somebody gets you off.
And you can start out with Sybil Thornton.
Another horse?
She's got the speed for it. Look her up. She owns Fleet Lady, and she was dashing around in the dark here playing easy to get.
I'll look her up.
You better leave the boys behind, after all. She's only a woman. When you see her, ask her about that van down on the waterfront and what she was doing before I made that phone call.
I'll tag all the bases. Don't worry, Junior. And if things fit together, you'll both be in the jug. I'll see you later. I got work to do.
Yeah, it's getting late. You better put the boys back in the cage. I began to worry after Hellman left. There was no murder gun, and he didn't have too much to go on, but there was no one else wanted my job. Oh, I knew the girl was going to have an alibi. I was the last guy that Jackie Gregg had seen. I had about as much chance as a fat girl at a Princeton prom. Hellman didn't like me, and he was a smart cop with a disposition like a ton of rhubarb. Well, I had to start right from scratch. I felt like Adam the first morning he woke up. So I looked up a guy named Jocko Madigan, an ex-doctor and a boozer who would give you a lift if you show him where the stirrups are. Oh, he's a good guy, but he thinks all food makes a gurgle. I hit all the bars and finally found him up at Maggie Nielsen's apartment. She's a good-looking voice that lives up on the hill, and Jocko was working his way into her liquor supply.
Hello, Patsy. You're just in time to join me for my first drink of the evening, or one of my first, at least.
Yeah, I see.
Maggie's not here, but I found her whiskey. It was in plain sight, locked in the closet under some newspapers.
All right, Jocko, when are you going to sober up?
Oh, I plan to do it briefly on April 1st, when the rest of the world plays the fool also.
Look, I'm in trouble, Jocko. You got to help me.
Good. I've a special bottle I use to forget your troubles.
Now, look, stop caressing that jug and listen to me. I'm in a jam.
Patsy, there's nothing in nature so sad as a half-empty bottle. It's like a broken vow or an unfulfilled promise in the skies, a falling star almost.
All right, Jocko.
A falling star, and you shrug it off, never realizing that a whole world is ended at that moment.
Yeah.
100 million dreams, maybe, and you watch it fall and make an asinine wish. That's all the good it does a star to fall. It gives some kid a chance to wish for a bicycle.
You all finished now, Jocko?
Yes. What kind of trouble? Anything I could aggravate?
I'm mixed up out at the track. A guy by the name of Jackie Gregg is dead, and I don't look good.
Oh, Hellman?
Yeah. The guy's a jockey, and he hired me to find a horse named Fleet Lady.
Did you?
The horse and the jockey ran a dead heat, but there's something funny about the whole deal.
Did you talk to the jockey?
No, not enough.
Oh, Patsy, you've got to break yourself of the habit of waiting until people are dead before you think of a question.
Jocko, I want you to hit all the horse rooms. Find out what you can about the 6th race tomorrow. It's the Bonanza Handicap. Now, hurry up, will you?
If it's the 6th race, why can't we wait a while?
Start now. Get everything you can and call me. I'll leave a message at your place.
Where are you going?
I don't know. Maybe up to see the girl.
Oh, Patsy, you're going to be waving at the hangman's wife when they spring the trap door.
I gotta see her. She owns Fleet Lady.
Well, why don't I see her?
She's got a stake somewhere, and I got a lot of questions. What could you do up there?
Ah, yes. If it weren't an academic question, I'd argue the point.
Oh, it looked like a bum deal right from the start.
Patsy, you have the instinct for recognizing trouble, but not the intelligence to duck it.
Save your breath, will you?
You're like a man walking under a scaffold on a building. You realize it may crash down and kill you, but instead of hugging the building where you can't get hurt, like every other dope, you scurry for the edge of the sidewalk where you're bound to get hit if it falls.
Jocko, will you get out to those horse parlors? I need facts, not fables. Now, give me a hand.
All right. Give my love to Fleet Lady.
Her name's Sybil Thornton.
I'll bet I'm not far wrong. Good night, lover.
After I left Jocko, I went to the Chronicle morgue and looked up the NBC program director, Paul Stangl. We pulled out the clips on Sybil Thornton. They were nice and fat because she'd been to Reno 4 times and hadn't broke training for years. She'd been traded around more than a Red Sox pitcher. The clipping said she was 32. Well, there were a lot of pictures. And from her eyes, you got the idea she was around 35. But there were arguments the other way, too. Well, there weren't any stories on her for the last few months, just a few items from the columns. They all said the same thing. She was hitting the night spots with a gambler named Rudy Hauser. There were pictures of him, too. Now, he would look good in a cave with heavy curtains. I asked Paul. He said Hauser had a gambling place out on Geary, so I took a cab out there. For $10, the guy at the door said Sybil Thornton had left the place an hour ago. That made me feel good. When Hauser opened the door to his office, I lost the glow.
Yeah?
What's with you?
I got a problem.
You got the wrong door.
Well, you can't get any tougher, so I'm coming in.
Suit yourself. I never throw anybody out until I'm sure they've lost all their money. What's on your mind?
A horse named Fleet Lady. She disappeared at 7 o'clock tonight.
You checked under the rug. I'll try the cabin.
She got back just in time to greet somebody's gunslinger.
If I say no, will you go out and lose your money like a good boy?
Fleet Lady was owned by a gal named Sybil Thornton. The columns say you're number 5 on her list.
Well, they never lie. The whiskey's too good.
Also, a little bird says she was in your office an hour ago.
That's right. She said your name's Novak.
Yeah.
Next time you got a bombshell, give it a test run.
With Fleet Lady dead, your money's going to look real good in the 6 tomorrow.
Well, it makes you think the gal would throw a race.
For the same reason she goes out with you?
Huh?
When a gal takes a Great Dane like you out in public, it generally means the guy's a few bucks ahead of her.
You want to fight the team now, Novak? And just remember, sometimes you can't be right and a gentleman, too.
Yeah. I hope that's the way you feel when they pick you up for Jackie Gregg's murder.
Huh?
Oh, you do a real nice double take, mister. The jockey checked out with a horse.
I didn't know that, Novak.
Yeah, with no brains, you built this gambling club.
I didn't know he was dead. If I told you that, Novak, I meant it. He's all right for a little punk. I'm sorry he's dead.
So's he. I'll see you later, Hauser. I got to nose around and find out where you were tonight.
Yeah. You seem all right, Novak. So I'll tell you. If you got any dough left when you leave my table, bet it on a horse named Fleet Lady in the 6th race tomorrow.
Do you always bet on a dead horse?
You got the tip. Use it or bury it, but don't loan it out.
Oh, the case was a regular grab bag when I walked out of Hauser's office. I began to tick off the things that didn't add up. First on the list was that van down on the waterfront. If it was Fleet Lady, who got shot in the stable? If it was the ringer, that meant Fleet Lady would run tomorrow. Oh, I couldn't figure out why Hauser was so sure she'd win. An idea kept racing around the back of my mind like an ant in a cookie factory. Jackie Gregg lied about that van down on the waterfront, but why? Not to bail me out of the poorhouse with $200. Oh, I got part of the answer when I stopped with the pay telephone and called Hellman.
Yeah, Hellman talking.
This is Novak. I got some news.
You'll have to put it on the back page.
What do you got?
Your friend Jackie Gray had some love life.
Well, there's a chance for you, Hellman. Who's the girl, Sybil Thornton?
Yeah, we found her picture in his wallet, the gooey kind.
I bet you stole it for long train rides. What time did he die?
The right fit for you between 9 and 10 o'clock. 2 shots from a .32 caliber pistol.
How about the horse?
45 caliber.
2 people. It's getting involved.
Maybe, maybe not. You got 2 hands, Novak.
Look up a guy named Rudy Hauser. He's got a joint out on Geary Street.
I got enough friends. You look him up.
I did. He's still talking about Fleet Lady and tomorrow's race.
All right, maybe he's sentimental. Look, Novak, I'll pick out my own work. I don't need free help from you. Jackie Gregg paid $200 and look what he got.
That suits yourself, but Rudy Hauser and that gal are close friends.
Yeah?
Like 2-part harmony in a telephone booth. Get off the dime, Hellman. Hauser's got that gal in his hip pocket. She owns Fleet Lady, and he's betting her to win.
You're trying hard, Novak.
It's got to be a slow field to lose to a dead horse. Wake up, Hellman. You couldn't smell a rat in a basement full of cheese.
I did all right in your apartment.
Huh?
That .32 caliber pistol, we found it in your place. See you later.
Well, I wasn't too worried about that. Hellman's smart enough to know a phony plant. I began to think about that .32 caliber pistol. It's a woman's weapon. Well, that doesn't prove anything. So's a bread knife if she's in a bad mood. Must have been about midnight when I got to Sybil Thornton's place. She was wearing black lounging pajamas tied tight around a slim waist. She looked like a wasp with a nice sting, and she had company.
Come in, Mr. Novak.
Yeah?
Mr. Novak, this is Ronnie Stark.
Hello, Novak.
Yeah.
Well, he's not very friendly, Sybil.
He's just parting because they're going to arrest him for Jackie's murder.
How do you like Hellman?
You've known him longer.
Yeah. Somebody left the murder gun up at my place. Where you been all night?
Please, Mr. Novak, you're embarrassing Ronnie.
That's right. I'm blushing, and it's not the whiskey, Novak.
I see.
You must stay longer, Ronnie.
She's persuasive, huh, Novak? See you tomorrow.
You won't forget, Ronnie.
Oh, I won't forget. I'm betting on you, Novak.
What won't he forget?
Mr. Novak, I hope nobody ever asks you that question.
You don't want to talk about putting that gun in my apartment?
No.
Let's talk about Rudy Hauser, then. Your meat grinder friend. We just had a good talk, and he opened up a new road.
What'd you tell him?
Don't break a spring. He's all right.
Will you do me a favor, Patsy?
Like not talking to Hauser anymore?
That's right. Won't do you any good, Patsy. It'll do me a lot of good.
How's he going to know which horse got killed? I'll bet you lied to him, Angel.
It's my apricot, Patsy. Leave it alone.
Sure. But play your hand right, baby. Because I'm going to watch your cards. And if you got one that says Jackie Gregg, I'm going to call you the hard way.
Patsy, you nice beast. I really think you would. Sit down.
Yeah.
A drink?
No,
Do you good.
not right now.
Well, you've read the book.
Just a couple of chapters.
I bet they're the right ones.
You better watch out, baby. I may be a long shot.
Well, you care as long as I bet.
I don't.
That's good. I didn't think you'd mind.
Aren't you beginning to crowd the beachhead?
Don't be a sissy, Patsy. You can't live forever.
All right, Angel. It's time to wire the folks.
Mr. Novak, just wait until you know me better.
That's for me. I left the number.
It's your fault, then.
Yeah.
Hello, Patsy.
What'd you find out, Jocko?
Not much. Nobody seems to care about the sixth race.
I care about it.
Oh, that's because you killed one of the jockeys. The rest of the people have a more casual interest.
How do the odds run?
Oh, no heavy favorites. Thin Air and Sleepy Time Gal figure to be the best, at around 5 to 1.
What about Fleet Lady?
Down the line somewhere. I talked to one fellow. He says she's a dog and couldn't beat a paralytic goose over 100 yards.
Yeah, what else?
Well, that's all.
What do you mean, that's all? Start digging, Jocko. We're not getting any place.
Not even at your end?
Huh?
Well, I counted on you to do better than that. Good night, lover.
On the way home, I bought the morning papers. There was no story on Jackie Gregg, no details, and most of the story was a statement by Hellman on Hellman. There was no mention of Fleet Lady, and at 1 o'clock in the morning, there was nothing I could do but roll into bed. I woke up about 9, called Jocko. It was like sending a message out to the Farallones by Indian Runner. He just muttered and said he'd meet me out at the track. Well, I had to have some more dope, so I called Ira Snow. He calls the races and bets on them. The way he does it, a horse is a real beast of burden. He was playing elf when I got him on the wire.
Yeah,
Ira, this is Novak. What do you know about the Bonanza handicap?
it's a horse race.
Oh, you're funny. What about the field? Are the horses any good?
For hamburgers, maybe. Nothing else.
How about Fleet Lady?
Eastern track. Nobody knows.
Would she be worth a heavy plunge?
Yeah, if you want to be a monk. What's this all about?
Ira, I'm in trouble. How about a fix? Could they run a ringer in on Fleet Lady?
Yeah, it's been done before, but it ain't easy.
That's what I figured. How's Rudy Hauser on horses?
He ain't. He got burned a long time ago. He never bets.
Well, I think you're wrong.
Look, Novak, I know every guy in town that's got the itch. Rudy Hauser, no.
You know a guy named Ronnie Stark?
Sure, he runs a book. Why?
Nothing. May see you at the track. I'm going to make a bet.
Yeah, I'll tell the horses.
Well, that left me in a hole. If Ira was right, Rudy Hauser on Fleet Lady didn't make a bit of sense. I got out to the track about 2:30. Jocko was there, and Hellman was wandering around up in the grandstand where they couldn't push him into a starting gate. Sybil Thornton waved from her box as I walked by to get a better shot at the starting line for the 6th. They were almost at the post when Jocko came back from the betting window.
Well, Patsy, I bet $2 on a horse called Scotch Victory. It seemed like a good omen.
Yeah.
I saw your friend Rudy Hauser at the window.
Huh?
He was pouring money down on the favorites to win.
Well, that's why the odds have gone down on Vin Air and Sleepy Time Gal. Look at that board, will you?
Yeah, Fleet Lady's gone all the way up to 12 to 1.
Yeah, from 8 to 1. All the way up.
Maybe the word got around she's dead.
No, that's the funny part. She's down there. See, number 3 on the rail. Not a peep out of anybody.
Is going to the front by 1 length. Sleepy Time Gal by a head. Fleet Lady between horses is running third by 1 length. On the outside, it's Vin Air and Old Soldier. Going into the clubhouse turn, it's Hot Weather by 2 lengths. Sleepy Time Gal by a half length. Fleet Lady is moving up on the outside. It's Vin Air fourth by 1 length. And Old Soldier. Down the back stretch, it's Hot Weather by 2 lengths. Fleet Lady moving up on the outside. outside is now second by 1 length.
She runs
St.
well for a
Bernard
ghost.
is Sleepy Time
Rudy
Gal.
Hauser'd better hurry up or he won't see much.
What?
He better hurry. He left the track 10 minutes ago.
Are you sure, Jocko?
Yes, I heard him tell someone he had to make a phone call just before the betting closed.
Well, Jocko, you're a sweetheart.
Oh, I like to think.
Come on, let's go to that stable.
The race isn't over.
It was over 5 minutes ago.
Well, how about my $2?
Come on, will you? There's only one person who will try to fix a horse race. That's a horse. Well, I knew there was going to be trouble fast. The horses were just coming under the wire when I waved to Hellman and started for the stable. When we got there, Sybil Thornton was clearing out like a fire sale.
I'm in a hurry, Patsy, darling. Let me by.
Now, you made a bad play, Angel. Stick around.
Let me by, Patsy.
You heard him, lady. Stick around.
Thanks, Copper. I'll take charge.
That's a big gun, Hauser.
I got a big beef. You let me drop $100 grand, Sybil.
It's your idea, Rudy.
Not this way. You let me drop $100 grand because you ran Fleet Lady.
The program said Fleet Lady, and that's who ran.
I brought those odds into line at the window. My other 80 looked bad on Fleet Lady. You didn't stay to watch her trail the field.
All right, I didn't stay. You lost your $100 grand. You killed the ringer. You were a smart big shot who was going to sew up the race.
You ran Fleet Lady and cost me $100 grand. All right, cop, I'll move away from her. Over this way, Sybil.
No. Don't let him do it, Patsy.
I want to see how tough you are.
Come on, Sybil. Let's you and me move against the stall.
Watch out, Hauser.
You're backing into the horse. Grab the horse, Novak. He's going to trample him.
You grab him. It's your idea.
Dan.
Yeah. You should have learned the first time you can't beat the horses.
That's a bum joke, Novak.
I guess it is.
Now that we're all here, who do we book for Jackie Gregg's murder?
I'll answer that, friend.
Who's this guy?
It's one you missed, Hellman. Hello, Stark.
I know, Novak. Well, what are you waiting for, Sybil? Tell the man you killed Jackie Gregg.
Had enough trouble today, Ronnie.
Now, you got more coming. Well, you figured it out yet, Novak?
Hauser dumped his 80 grand on you.
That's right. It's a lot of spending money.
Wait a minute. Ronnie, I don't like this.
Well, you get your half, baby. I'm going to write out an IOU. When they book you for murder and the vote's in, you can't use it.
You wouldn't do a thing like that, Ronnie.
A dead girl can't spend 40 grand. She killed your guy, Copper, and tried to palm it off on Novak. I was there, so I'll testify.
Ronnie, you're a no good guy.
Don't be silly. I love justice. A booker for murder, Copper. I want to tear up that IOU.
Well, Hellman finally worked it out. Started out as a fixed race, and when they were all through, it was up to the horse. Rudy Hauser put the squeeze on Sybil for some dough. She offered to run a fast ringer in place of Fleet Lady, so Hauser could pick up a bag full. Rudy just wanted to make sure, so he sent one of his boys around to knock off Fleet Lady. Only the guy killed the ringer instead. Well, that was a break for Sybil. She made a deal with a bookie named Ronnie Stark to take all of Hauser's bets and guarantee him that Fleet Lady couldn't win because she wasn't that good a horse. It panned out that way. She let Hauser think Fleet Lady was dead. He spent the 20 grand at the window pushing up the odds on Fleet Lady and dumped another 80 on her to win. The moving van? Well, that was a phony story Gregg used to get me to scare Sybil. He wanted in on the deal. He went back to the stable that night, got in a beef, and she killed him. She had him out in her car. When I went to make that phone call, she figured it was a good way to pass the buck. Hellman asked only one question. Why would a nice, tame horse go crazy and trample a guy to death? Jocko had the answer. The horse that killed Hauser was a filly.
Broadcasting Company has just brought you the fourth of a new series, Pat Novak, for Hire, starring Jack Webb. Pat Novak is produced and directed by William P. Rousseau. Jocko Madigan is played by Tudor Owen. Inspector Hellman is played by Raymond Burr. Music was composed and conducted by Basil Adlam. In our cast were Virginia Gregg, Tal Avery, Stacey Harris, Hugh Thomas, and Carlisle Bibbers. This program is being released to our servicemen and women overseas through the worldwide facilities of the Armed Forces Radio Service. Be with us again next week when over most of these same ABC stations we will bring you Pat Novak for Hire. This program came to you from Hollywood. Now, a listening reminder. Tonight, don't miss Jane Wyman when she guest stars and explains how she created her unforgettable role as the deaf-mute in Johnny Belinda. Hear Jane Wyman tonight on this ABC station. This is ABC, the National Broadcasting Company.
The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes. Best of all, king-size cigarettes brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to robbery detail. An unidentified armed bandit starts a campaign of jewelry store holdups in your city. The robberies are carefully planned, carefully executed. The bandit commits brutal attacks on each of the victims. Your job? Get him. The latest Fatima sales report shows thousands and thousands of king-size cigarette smokers are switching to Fatima.
For the month of October, coast-to-coast actual figures show Fatima sales are up 110%, or more than double.
Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes. Definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
Remember, thousands of Americans are switching to extra mild Fatima. Next time, insist on the best king-size Fatima in the distinctive golden yellow package.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Wednesday, March 10th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of robbery detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Captain Didion. My name's Friday. It was 3:28 p.m. when I got to room 27A. Robbery detail.
Joe?
Yeah, Ben.
Joe, this is Mr. and Mrs. Gordon. Folks would like to have you meet my partner, Sergeant Friday.
How do you do? Glad to know you.
How are you, Sergeant?
Mrs. Gordon, are you feeling any better now?
Qu'est-ce qu'il a dit, Robert?
Il veut savoir comment tu te sens. Raconte-leur ce que tu sais de Val.
She's a lot better now, Sergeant, thank you. My French isn't very good, but it's a lot better than her English. Cecile's only been over here a couple of weeks. I met her when I was on occupation duty over there. Army, you know.
Yeah, I see. Well, we'll try not to keep you long, sir. We got a few questions about the robbery. We think your wife might be able to help us.
Well, we've sure tried, Sergeant. Like to help you any way we can.
And your wife was the only one in the store besides the clerk at the time of the hold-up. Like to have her tell us everything that happened, if she would, please.
Okay. Qu'est-ce qui est arrivé à la bijouterie?
Oh, oui, je peux leur dire, j'ai tout vu.
She says she saw everything that happened, Sergeant. What would you like to know first?
Well, how about the hold-up man, Mr. Gordon? Did your wife get a good look at him? Can she describe him for us?
Qu'est-il? Peux-tu décrire le voleur?
Oh, il portait un veston bleu. C'était un homme aux cheveux bruns, pas trop grands.
Says the fellow was wearing a blue coat. He had dark hair. Wasn't a very big man.
Mm-hmm. Does she have any idea about how tall he was?
Cécile, de quelle taille? C'est-à-dire...
Costaud. Comme ça. Il viendrait jusqu'à ton épaule. Il pesait environ 80 kilos.
She can't say exactly how tall, Sergeant. Said he'd come up to about here on my shoulder, about 5'8", I guess. She thinks maybe he weighed about 170 pounds. She's not sure.
Would you ask her exactly what happened at the store? That is, as much as she can remember.
Sure. Cécile, dis-leur exactement ce qui s'est passé.
Eh bien, j'étais au comptoir quand l'homme est entré. Il est allé directement au vendeur, celui qui me servait, et il avait un revolver dans la main.
Well, she says she was standing by the counter, Sergeant, when the hold-up man came in.
Says the fellow went over to the clerk, the man who was waiting on her. Says the fellow had a gun in his hand.
Would you ask her to go on, please?
Et après, Cécile?
Il a forcé le vendeur à lui donner tous les bijoux et les a mis dans un sac de papier.
She says the hold-up man made the clerk get up the jewelry. The guy took it and dumped it in a paper bag. Cécile, et après?
Puis, sans raison, après avoir obtenu tous les bijoux, il s'est mis à battre le vendeur avec le revolver. C'était terrible, terrible. J'ai commencé à crier, puis il m'a battu. C'est tout dont je me souviens. C'était terrible.
Well, after he got all this jewelry in a paper bag, the thief began beating up on the clerk. She says for no reason at all, he began slugging the clerk with a gun he was carrying. Really got nasty with him. Naturally, it scared the wife, and she let out a scream. He turned around and hit her. She says that's all she remembers. Sure like to get my hands on that lousy punk.
Yeah, I understand how you feel, Mr. Gordon. Could you ask your wife if there's anything else about the hold-up man she remembers?
Cécile, te rappelles-tu d'autres choses à propos de cet homme? Avait-il quelque chose d'extraordinaire?
No, Robert.
Well, that's about it, Sergeant.
Well, how about the man's clothes? Does she remember anything else he was wearing besides that blue jacket?
Et le reste de ses vêtements? Et par le veston bleu, t'en rappelles-tu?
Non. Je crois qu'il avait un pantalon foncé, mais je ne me rappelle pas d'autre chose. J'avais trop peur.
She thinks maybe he had on dark trousers. She's not sure, though, since she was too scared to notice. Cécile, portait-il un chapeau?
Oh, non. Il n'avait pas de chapeau.
I asked her if he was wearing a hat. She said no, she's sure of that.
I see. Well, is there anything else that she can remember about him? Anything at all?
Y a-t-il autre chose que la police devrait savoir?
Non, je leur ai tout dit. C'est tout dont je me souviens.
No, you got it all, Sergeant.
Well, thank you very much, Mr. Gordon, Mrs. Gordon.
Je comprends pas. Je comprends pas.
How's that, ma'am?
Cécile?
Je comprends pas pourquoi un homme ferait une chose pareille. Je comprends pas.
She says she can't understand how a man would do such a thing. She means how he cut up the clerk that way.
Yeah.
Je comprends pas.
So hard for her, she just can't understand.
Tell her we can't either. 2 weeks before, on the 27th of April at 2:30 in the afternoon, the robbery suspect had begun his campaign of downtown jewelry store holdups. Since that time, in the same general area, he had succeeded in committing 3 more jewel robberies and making good his escape. Each of the holdups netted him more than $3,000 in rings, diamonds, and other precious stones. From his M.O., it was obvious that he was experienced. All of the robberies were committed in broad daylight. All of them were apparently well planned. After obtaining the loot, which he dumped into an ordinary paper bag, he turned on his victims and with no provocation beat them viciously. After 2 weeks of investigation, we had yet to come up with a solid lead on either the identity of the suspect or his whereabouts. We had a fair description of the hold-up man. We had a good rundown on his method of operation, but repeated checks on possible suspects through the Record Bureau, CII in Sacramento, and through our statistician's office failed to get us anything. There were no kickbacks on our all-points bulletin. After we interviewed Mrs. Gordon, the witness to the latest jewel robbery, we were no further along than we were 2 weeks before, an M.O. and a description. Neither one of them were giving us much help. 4:05 p.m., we met with Captain Didion.
How about the mug books? Any luck there?
Miss Gordon's in there now, Skipper, with her husband. They're checking through them. Nothing yet.
Mm-hmm. What else you got working?
New run going through the stats office. Third one this week might get us something.
The store manager on that job this afternoon. Did you talk to him yet?
Yeah, we did. He gave us the best lead we've had so far in the thing. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, what's that?
Well, we had him checking the mug books, and he came up with a partial identification from one of them, San Quentin release.
No.
Jack Maynard. He's only been arrested once here, drunk charge. Done time up at Q for robbery before. Ben and I pulled a package on him. We figure he ought to still be serving time at Quentin. Couldn't tell from his record, though.
How's that?
Well, it's possible he might have been paroled the last month or so. That'd put him in line for these holdups.
Mm-hmm. You check, Quentin?
We got off the teletype to the warden's office late this morning, Skipper. I'll have an answer pretty soon. Best lead we've had so far. I hope it stands up.
Excuse me. Robbery, Didion. Yeah? Wait on Matthews now, huh? No, you and the Caleb stay on it. Yeah, that's right. Over the weekend, anyway. Yeah, right. Goodbye. Well, what's the answer? He's had 3 weeks. He's cleared 4 jobs, every one of them in broad daylight. More than $10,000 worth of stuff. Now, how do we reach him?
How about some extra manpower, Skipper? Can we manage it?
What do you got in mind?
Stakeout seems to be the best angle for us at this time of setup.
How many teams you figure it'll take?
Oh, a dozen anyhow. You figure that, Joe?
Yeah, just about. The thief seems to be concentrating on the downtown area. All 4 holdups were in the same general neighborhood within a 20-block radius.
Mm-hmm.
We can't cover all the jewelry stores with a dozen teams. It'll give us pretty good coverage, though. Sure help our chances.
Mm-hmm. You checked out all the other angles, huh?
Everything. Not doing us much good.
Robbery, did you? Yeah, just a minute. You, Friday.
Oh, thanks. Yeah, Friday talking. Yeah, that's right. Mm-hmm. That's so. No, we'll pick it up. Thank you. This communications just got an answer on that teletype to Clinton.
From Jack Maynard? What'd they say?
No lead. He's still in prison. We went back and started again from the beginning. With our best lead gone, there wasn't any alternative. The following day, Thursday, March 11th, the stakeouts went into effect. A dozen jewelry stores in the immediate downtown area, all of them potential hold-up victims, were placed under constant surveillance. 3 days passed. Nothing happened. No sign of the hold-up man. We stayed on it. Tuesday, March 16th, 11 a.m. At a small downtown jewelry shop 3 blocks from the nearest stakeout team, the bandit committed his 5th successive robbery and made good his escape. The M.O. and description matched in almost every respect. Ben and I answered the call and drove to the scene of the holdup to interview the victim, a Mr. Walter Myers.
He came straight back this way, just where I'm walking. I was at the end of that counter there, just where you are. He had a brown paper bag in one hand, and it was just a couple of feet from me. He put his other hand in his coat pocket, and he came up with a gun, pointed it right at me.
Store was empty at the time, sir? No customers around?
Yeah, that's right. Just myself and my son-in-law, Herb, in the back room. I guess he heard this thief talking to me, and he came out to see what it was all about. That's when the fireworks started.
And what happened?
Well, he made Herb line up along the counter right next to me. By this time, he had all the loot he wanted in that paper bag he was carrying. Just when I thought he was going to leave, he turned around. All of a sudden, he said to Herb, "You think you're a smart guy, don't you?" Then he slugged Herb with the gun. Brought it right down on the side of his head, all his might.
That's when the fight started, is that right?
Just about, yeah. Herb fell down on one knee. There was a great big gash on the side of his face. Even when he was down, the thief kept slugging Herb, kept pounding him in the face with that gun. Herb wasn't doing anything. I got good and sore.
What happened then?
Well, I didn't care what happened. I just got sore at the lousy crook. I made a dive for him, grabbed him around the chest. Here, something like this.
Yeah.
The two of us went down on the floor, and I wrestled him for the gun. That's when it went off. A wild shot. Plowed right into the wall over there. Herb picked himself up and piled on the guy, too. I guess the crook really must have figured he was through, fought like a wild man. I had a good hold of the top coat he had on, but he slipped right out of it. He grabbed his gun and the paper bag and ran out of the store, left me there holding an empty coat.
So this is the coat he was wearing right here, is that right?
Yeah, that's it. You can see one of the sleeves there. See? He almost ripped it clean off trying to get away.
Yeah, I see.
I already looked through the pockets. Nothing in them.
Now, how about this description of the man, Mr. Myers? You're pretty sure of that, are you?
Yeah, I'm positive, Sergeant.
Ben, you want to call the crime lab? There's a phone booth right over there. You mind?
Oh, yeah, thanks.
I wonder if I could check that spot where the bullet hit Mr. Myers, that wild shot he fired.
Oh, yeah. Right over here, Sergeant. Back of the cash register.
Yeah. Bedded in there pretty solid.
You're lucky it was the wall, not one of us. Say, I got a pocket knife here if you want to dig it out.
No, sir. We've got a crew on the way out from our crime lab. Ballistics men. They'll take care of it. I would like to take another look at that top coat, the one the thief was wearing.
Oh, yeah, sure. I had already looked it over pretty good. Nothing in the pockets. Couldn't find anything. Here.
All right, sir. Just an ordinary top coat, isn't it? There's no label on it. No, you're right. There's nothing in the pocket.
What is? Did you find something?
Oh, no, sir. It feels like a hole in the pocket here. Good size one.
No.
Yeah.
Crime lab's on the way. Should be here in a couple of minutes.
Okay, fine.
Anything at all in the coat?
Oh, I don't know. Here. Seems to be a hole in this pocket here. It's possible something might have dropped down into the lining of the coat, maybe.
Here, let me hold out that end for you.
All right, thank you. Let me hold it up a little. That's fine, right
like
there.
This?
Yeah. Yeah, it feels like something down in here.
What is it?
Just a minute. I get my hand down in there. See if I can get it. Yeah. There we are.
A scrap of paper. Some writing on it.
What is it, Joe?
Telephone number. The phone number printed neatly on the scrap of paper was Crestview 92085. There were no other notations. We checked out the number and found that the telephone was installed at 6414 Cordova Drive in the Los Feliz district. After the crime lab crew arrived at the store, Ben and I took the bandit's top coat and drove to the address listed for the phone number, a 12-unit apartment house on the corner of Franklin Avenue and Fairfax. The number turned out to be a public phone booth located in the lobby of the apartment. The manager could tell us nothing. We began checking with the tenants on the first floor of the building. We gave them the description of the jewelry store bandit. We showed them the top coat. They failed to recognize either one. We started on the second floor at the end of the hall. The tenant was a Mrs. Iverson.
Do you recognize the description at all, Miss Iverson? Mean anything to you?
Yes. I'd say it did, Sergeant. Have you tried the apartment next door, Miss King's apartment?
Oh, no, ma'am. Why do you ask that?
Yes. I'm almost sure of it.
Ma'am?
I've seen a man who looks like this go in there several times.
You are listening to Dragnet, authentic stories of your police force in action.
Millions heard it, yet only 52 have written.
Starting on Dragnet over 2 months ago, on September 20th to be exact, Fatima made a special money-back offer to more than 10 million listeners. The results? Amazing.
Millions heard it, yet only 52 have written.
If you smoke king-size cigarettes, listen to Fatima's famous offer.
Buy a pack of Fatimas. Enjoy their extra mildness and superbly blended tobaccos. If you're not convinced Fatima is better than the king-size cigarette you're now smoking, just return the pack and the unsmoked Fatimas before January 1st, and we'll give you your money back plus postage. Fatima, Box 37, New York 1.
Fatima's latest sales report shows Fatima sales up in every state in America. The month of October, coast to coast. Actual figures show Fatima sales up 110%, or more than double.
Yes, thousands and thousands of Americans are switching to king-size Fatima. So why wait? Switch to Fatima today. Extra mild. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
March 16th, Tuesday, 2:48 p.m. Ben and I went next door to the apartment where a man answering the description of the jewelry store bandit reportedly had been seen several times. We rang, but there was no answer. We went back and checked with the manager of the building, who told us that the apartment was registered to a Miss Lenore King. He told us that as far as he knew, Miss King worked during the day and that she usually returned to her apartment between 7 and 8 o'clock at night. The manager gave us the address of the place she worked, and we checked it out. It was an exclusive gift shop on La Cienega Boulevard in West Hollywood. We located Lenore King back at the main packing desk where she was employed as a gift wrapper. When we put the question to her that a man answering the description of the jewelry store bandit had been seen visiting her, she readily admitted it.
Yes, that's right. I'd say he looks just like that. He drops by my apartment 4 or 5 times a month. His name's Marty.
What's his last name, Miss King? Where can we find him?
I'm sorry, I never did know his last name. I'm afraid I don't know where you can find him either.
Well, how's that, Miss King? He visits you quite a bit. He's a friend of yours, isn't he?
Not exactly. I know him. That's about all. He's a friend of a friend. It's more like that.
Uh-huh.
Excuse me.
Sure.
I'm sorry. This package has a rush on it. I'll have to wrap it now. Do you mind?
No, ma'am. You go right ahead.
About this man, Marty, Miss King, you mind explaining a little more? If you don't know him well, why should he visit you so often?
Well, to tell you the truth, it's more of a favor than anything. It's for Virginia. She's my girlfriend.
Uh-huh.
And I wish I never got mixed up in it to begin with.
Well, how do you mean, mixed up in what?
Well, it's confidential, Sergeant. I'd just as soon not mention it if you don't mind.
Well, I'd like to have you tell us everything you know about it. It's a pretty important matter, ma'am.
Well, I don't know really how it started. I mean, how the two of them got together, Marty and Virginia. They just met, I suppose. Virginia fell in love with him. She had to find some way out.
How's that?
Virginia, she was crazy about Marty. I guess she still is. They didn't want to get all involved, though, neither one of them. It's romantic in a way. Could I have the scissors there, Sergeant?
Yes, here you go.
Well, the two of them want us to see each other once a week. It's enough for Virginia, she says. She loves him, that's all that counts. She doesn't want to know where Marty lives, what he does, anything about him, and I guess the same goes for Marty.
I see. So the two of them get in touch with each other through you, is that it?
That's right. Usually once a week, maybe once every 2 weeks. I'd just as soon not talk about it if you don't mind, though. I can give you Virginia's address. She can tell you more about Marty than I can.
You have no idea where we can locate the man.
I'm sorry, none at all. The only contact I have is when Marty phones me or when he comes around. He leaves a message for Virginia where to meet him and when, and then he leaves. I really think you ought to talk to Virginia about it. Here we are.
One thing I don't quite understand, ma'am.
Yes?
This girlfriend of yours, Virginia, you say she's in love with this fellow Marty?
Oh, yeah, crazy about him.
And why are they playing this hide and seek? If they're in love, why don't they come out and get married? What's the problem?
Virginia.
What?
She's already married.
Before we left Lenore King, we advised her what the situation was. In the event the suspect, Marty, contacted her, she was to get in touch with us immediately. She gave us her promise that she wouldn't disclose our conversation with her. We left her our card, and she gave us the address of her girlfriend, Virginia Brewer. It was a South Argyle Street address, but Mrs. Brewer wasn't at home. 8:15 p.m. We drove to her place of employment, a Valley nightclub out along Ventura Boulevard, where she was appearing in the Floor show. She was a dancer. We located her backstage, waiting to go on.
You must have some other girl in mind, officer. I don't know anyone by the name of Marty.
You sure about that, Miss Brewer? We got it from a pretty good source.
Well, I'm sure I don't know where you got it, but it's wrong. The name isn't familiar at all. Who told you this, anyway?
Close friend of yours, ma'am. She seemed to know what she was talking about.
Well, why did I got a right to know that?
Lenore King?
Lenore? Why should she tell you a story like that?
We wouldn't know, ma'am, unless it's the truth.
Of course it's not the truth. I don't know any Marty. I don't even know what this is all about.
Well, she says you know the man, Mrs. Brewer. She says you're in love with him. She seemed to have all the details. Now, is there any good reason why she'd tell lies about you?
I don't know. You believe what she told you?
Yes, ma'am, we do, unless you can prove it's a lie.
I'm sorry. That's my introduction. I have to go on.
All right, ma'am. We'll wait.
Want to come back here, officers? Dressing room? We can talk there.
All right, fine.
In here.
Thank you.
Well, I suppose there isn't any point in trying to cover it over. Only one thing I'd like to ask you.
Yes, ma'am?
My husband doesn't have to know, does he? I mean, whatever there is to this. You don't have to tell the papers, do you? You can keep it quiet.
Well, whatever you tell us will be strictly confidential, ma'am.
All right. I know Marty. I've known him for 6 months. Lenore wasn't lying. I'm in love with him.
Well, we're not prying into your personal life, Miss Brewer. We just like to locate this man, Marty, that's all. It's pretty important to us.
Why is it important? Why do you want him?
Robbery investigation, ma'am. We'd like to get hold of him for an interview.
Robbery? Think Marty's done something? Is that why you want him?
We're not sure. Do you have any idea where we can find him?
No, no more than Lenore. I guess she told you about it. I mean, Marty and I, how it's been.
You have no idea where he stays, where he works?
No, I don't. It's been that way from the beginning. Lenore knows as much about that as I do. Only one way I can get in touch with him, and that's when he leaves a message at Lenore's, or I'll leave a message. When we first met, Marty and I, that's the way we both wanted it. He didn't want to get all involved. Because of my husband. I didn't either.
Have you seen this Marty lately, Miss Brewer?
Yes, about 10 days ago.
You expect to see him again soon?
I don't know. I suppose so. He'll leave a message with Lenore if he wants me. That's all I can go on.
Well, could you leave a message for him with Lenore?
Yes, I suppose so. Have to wait till he calls, though.
Mm-hmm.
Can't you tell me more about it, Sergeant? Why do you want him? What's it about?
We're going to have to ask your cooperation, ma'am. Your friend's a robbery suspect. We think he's a pretty good one.
Marty?
Yes, ma'am. And the next time he contacts you, the next time he sets up a date with you, we'd like to know where, we'd like to know when.
You think he's guilty? Really think he's done something?
Well, he's a suspect, ma'am. That's all we know.
I guess Lenore told you. I love him. Love him more than anyone. Won't make any difference.
Ma'am?
Won't make any difference. I love him. Even if he is guilty, it won't make any difference.
It will to him. 8:55 p.m. We continued questioning Virginia Brewer. Before we left, we got her promise that in the event the man known as Marty contacted her, she would notify us immediately. 9:20 p.m. We checked back in at the office and made arrangements to keep the home of Virginia Brewer under constant surveillance, as well as the apartment of her girlfriend, Lenore King. The following morning, we checked with the ballistics men at the crime lab who examined the slug which had been taken from the wall of Walter Meyer's jewelry store, the latest of the hold-up man's victims. It was identified as having been fired from a .32 caliber revolver. The slug was marked and filed as evidence. Thorough examination of the topcoat which the suspect had left behind at his last hold-up failed to yield any new leads. The jewel trays at the store which had been held up were also checked for fingerprints. A week passed. No sign of the jewel thief. Wednesday, March 24th.
I'll grab it.
All right.
Robbery Romero. Oh, yes, ma'am. Well, when was that? All right. Fine, yes, ma'am. Thank you. Bye.
You got anything?
That friend of Mrs. Brewer's, Lenore King.
Yeah.
Says this fellow Marty called a few minutes ago.
Uh-huh.
Set up a date with Mrs. Brewer. We're supposed to meet at Lenore's apartment.
When?
8 o'clock tonight.
4:45 p.m. We checked with Captain Didion and set up a plan to have the apartment building where Lenore King lived thoroughly covered that night. Carr and Matthews were assigned to cover outside the main entrance. McCaleb and Olson would cover the lobby. Ben and I would be in the apartment proper along with Mrs. Brewer and Lenore King. By 6 o'clock that night, we were all in position. We waited. 6:30, 7 o'clock, 7:30. We waited. Mrs. Brewer walked the floor with a drink in her hand. 7:45, 7:50. Ben watched at the window. Virginia Brewer got nervous.
You can't prove it. You don't know anything for sure. How I know you're not trying for a frame, trying to blame Marty for something he didn't do?
We're not blaming him for anything, ma'am. He's a suspect. We want to talk to him, that's all.
Why don't you sit down, huh, Virginia? You know you're getting upset. It'll be all right. Come on, honey.
Got him all over the place, Lenore. Cops. Waiting for Marty. What am I supposed to think?
Why don't you relax, Miss Brewer? If he's not the man, you got nothing to worry about.
He's right, honey. Sit down, huh? Let me freshen up that drink.
Hey, Joe.
Yeah.
Car pulling up outside. Sedan.
Yeah, what to say?
Right in front, see? Man getting out. Yeah, he's coming in here.
Marty.
Can't see him. He must be inside.
Marty. Why didn't he tell me?
You want to hop downstairs, Ben, see what happened, huh?
You're all right.
It'll be all right, honey. Take it easy. It'll be all right.
I didn't know. Sergeant, why did you do it?
Do what, ma'am?
Marty, I didn't know about it. We didn't know anything about each other, and this has to happen. Why didn't he tell me?
I wouldn't know.
I love him. The rest I don't know, but I love him. If he was in trouble, he could have told me. If he loved me, he would have told me. He would have told me everything.
Well, I guess maybe you got the answer.
What?
He didn't love you.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On June 29th, trial was held in Superior Court, Department 91, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that trial.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friend, the man who sells you your Fatimas, your neighborhood cigarette dealer, is a mighty good man to go see during the holiday season. When you drop in, notice Fatima's new poster. It's a reminder that he has Fatimas in smart Christmas cartons. Now, this Christmas season, I'm buying Fatimas for all my friends. I suggest you do the same. You'll be giving the best, and believe me, they'll thank you for introducing them to Fatima quality. It's extra mildness and better flavor and aroma. Remember, ask your dealer for Fatima in the distinctive new Christmas wrapper. And when you see it, you'll agree it's the smartest of all Christmas cartons, just as it should be, because Fatima is the best of all king-size cigarettes.
The suspect, Martin Arthur Kessington, was wounded, but not fatally, when he attempted to resist arrest. After interrogation, he dictated a signed statement admitting guilt for all 5 of the jewelry store holdups. He was tried and convicted on 5 counts of first-degree robbery and received a sentence as prescribed by law. Robbery in the first degree is punishable by imprisonment in the state penitentiary for a term of 5 years to life. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Barton Yarborough is Sergeant Ben Romero. Also heard were Vic Perrin and Virginia Gregg. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Al Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Next, Counter Spy fights international intrigue on NBC. The story you are about to hear is true. The names have been changed to protect the innocent.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, brings you Dragnet.
You're a detective sergeant. You're assigned to homicide detail. A 40-year-old mother is found murdered in the bedroom of her home. The body bears the marks of a savage attack with a knife. The killer showed no mercy. Your job? Get him. See the difference. Taste the difference.
Smoke the difference.
You'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness. A much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Yes, in king-size Fatima, you get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes. Definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
Remember, thousands of Americans are switching to Fatima. Insist on Fatima quality. So why wait? Switch to Fatima today. Look for the sunny yellow pack. Buy Fatima. Best of all, king-size cigarettes.
Dragnet, the documented drama of an actual crime. For the next 30 minutes, in cooperation with the Los Angeles Police Department, you will travel step by step on the side of the law through an actual case transcribed from official police files. From beginning to end, from crime to punishment, Dragnet is the story of your police force in action.
It was Tuesday, February 18th. It was cold in Los Angeles. We were working the day watch out of homicide detail. My partner's Ben Romero. The boss is Thad Brown, chief of detectives. My name's Friday. It was 10:43 a.m. when we got to Woodview High School, the vice principal's office.
Good morning, ma'am.
Yes?
I'd like to see the vice principal, please. I believe her name is Harmon. Miss Harmon?
I'm Miss Harmon. What is it you wanted?
Police officers, ma'am. Here's our identification.
Oh, yes.
This is my partner, Sergeant Romero. My name's Friday.
I see. How do you do?
Well, we'd like to talk to one of your girl students, Miss Harmon, Roberta Dixon. Understand she's registered here?
Roberta Dixon. Oh, yes, I believe I know her.
Would you mind calling her out of class, please? We'd like to talk to her.
Well, we generally don't like to do that, officer, not unless it's absolutely necessary.
It's pretty important, ma'am. We've got a message for the girl.
I see. Couldn't it wait until after school hours?
I'm afraid not, Miss Harmon. It's about the girl's mother, and it's pretty serious.
Oh, has she been taken ill, is that it?
No, ma'am. She's been murdered. 16-year-old Roberta Dixon, the daughter of the murdered woman, was called out of her classroom and brought downstairs to the office of Miss Harmon, the girl's vice principal. She was a thin, dark-haired girl in sweater and skirt. With the help of Miss Harmon, whom the girl seemed to know fairly well, Ben and I broke the news of her mother's death as gently as we could. At first, the 16-year-old girl seemed to take the shock with some composure, but suddenly she broke down weeping and became hysterical. When she recovered sufficiently, the girl agreed to come downtown with us to answer a few routine questions. Miss Harmon agreed to accompany her.
11:05 a.m. We checked back in at the office. Ben and I completed the 311 dead body report while Miss Harmon and the daughter of the murdered woman waited in the adjoining room.
What was that time discovered, Joe? You got a note on it there?
Yeah, let me look. 8:55 a.m.
Oh, thanks.
Hi, Joe. How are you?
Oh, hi, George. How you doing?
I can't complain. Got some checking out to do. I wonder if you'd help me.
Well, I'll give it a try. Ben, you know George DeCoven, don't you? Reporter from the Daily News?
Oh, yeah, sure. Seen him around. Hi.
Say, I understand you two are working on that knife murder out on Pico, the dead woman they found this morning?
Yeah, that's right.
A few things I'd like to check with you before I do the story. The victim's name was Florence Eleanor Dixon, that right?
That's right, George, yeah.
A couple more things here. Stop me if I got it wrong. The victim was 40 years old, divorced, one child, daughter 16. Body was discovered 9 o'clock this morning by a next-door neighbor. Let's see, the neighbor's name is Esther Fenwick.
No, I think the name's Fenmore, George.
Oh, thanks. Fenmore. I understand you haven't got much to go on. No murder weapons, no other leads.
No, not much of anything so far. We just started on this thing.
How about the husband of the dead woman? You get anything there?
Well, he divorced Mrs. Dixon 2 years ago. There's no line on him yet. We're still checking him out. We might have some word later on in the day for him.
Any other possible suspects in mind, or do you want to say?
No, I don't think so. It's still wide open.
How about a motive? That been established yet?
Could have been one of a dozen things. We're going to have to do some digging before we can say definitely.
It doesn't look like it was a robbery motive. Well, that's about all we can tell you for sure, George.
See, I was over at the morgue when they brought the body in. It's the worst I've seen in a long time. Brutal.
It's pretty bad.
I suppose there's nothing from the crime lab yet.
No. I think they just got back from the house a few minutes ago. If you want to drop by later on this afternoon, we might have something new for you.
Okay, thanks.
You bet.
Oh, say, I saw you bringing the girl in a few minutes ago, the victim's daughter. I'd like to get a couple of pictures of her.
Well, how about making a little later, huh, George? Kid's still upset. Pretty much of a shock for you, you can understand.
Okay, I'll be waiting out in the hall with the photographer.
Okay.
You give me a call now. Just a couple of shots. It won't take a minute.
You betcha, George. We'll call you.
Okay.
You about finished with that report, Ben?
Yeah, all done. Guess we better talk to the girl, huh?
Yeah, all right. The morgue say when they're going to post the body?
Sometime today. We ought to have the results first thing tomorrow morning. Miss Harmon?
I think she's a lot better now, Sergeant. Roberta, the officers would like to talk to you a few minutes if you feel up to it.
All right. Who killed my mother? Have you found out?
Not yet, Roberta, and we think you might be able to help us, so.
It's so hard to believe. I just saw her this morning. She was all right then.
Well, you try to take it easy, Roberta. We'll make it as brief as possible. Now, you and your mother are the only people living at your house? No one else?
No, me and my mother, that's all. My father used to live with us. He doesn't anymore.
How long has it been since your father left?
I'm not sure. About 5 years, I think. He and Mama didn't get along. They got divorced.
Do you see your father at all anymore? I mean, does he ever come to your house to visit?
He did once. It was about a year ago, I think. Wasn't much good. He and my mother argued all the time he was there, and he left. He hasn't been back since.
Has he been in contact at all with your mother? Do you know? Does he write her letters, call her on the phone?
No. The last time was when he came to our house. I haven't heard anything about him since. I don't even know where he is. I don't care, I guess. I hardly even knew him.
I'd like to have you think about this carefully now, Roberta. Did your mother have any close friends who used to come to the house quite a bit?
Yes, 2 or 3 women friends of hers at work.
Any men friends?
No. Mama didn't have any men friends. She didn't like men. She said they were all no good. She used to tell me that all the time.
Do you have any relatives we can contact?
I don't know about my father's side. My mother has a brother and sister in West Virginia. Dresses at home. What am I going to do? Why would anybody kill my mother?
All right, now you try to take it easy, Roberta. Everything's going to work out all right. Look, now, do you think you can give us a list of most of the people your mother knew, friends around the neighborhood, the people she knew at her work?
Yes, I think so. Most of them are in her address book. I think I know where it is.
All right, fine.
Just before you left for school this morning, Roberta, was there anyone in the house besides you and your mother?
No, just the 2 of us.
Was your mother expecting anyone?
Not that I know of.
Your mother was all right, was she? There didn't seem to be anything bothering her?
No. She acted all right to me, just like any other morning. We got up at 6:45. I got dressed. Mama took a shower. I fixed breakfast. We ate, and then I left for school.
About what time was that, Roberta?
A little before 8:30, usual time. I have my first class at 9 o'clock. When I left Mama, she was just finishing her breakfast. I said goodbye. It was the last time I saw her. Can we talk after a while, please? Maybe I'll feel better. Can't talk now.
Oh, sure, that's all right. Would you like to rest here?
I don't know why I'm crying. It's stupid. I don't care anyway. No reason to cry.
You better get some rest, youngster.
No reason. It doesn't make sense crying about Mama.
How's that?
I'm not sorry. I'm glad she's dead.
Early that afternoon, after she'd rested sufficiently and recovered herself, we had another interview with Roberta Dixon, the teenage daughter of the murdered woman. Miss Harmon, the vice principal, went back to the school, and a policewoman was called in to be present during the interrogation. Again, she insisted that she wasn't at all sorry that her mother was dead. She said that privately she didn't have any love for either one of her parents, least of all her mother. She told the usual story of a broken home, a father who showed little interest in his daughter or providing a good home for her, a strict, overbearing mother who apparently made no effort to understand the girl. We continued to interview Roberta Dixon, but outside of what she'd already told us, she showed no further knowledge of the murder. Pending action by the court, we had the girl placed in the custody of the juvenile authorities. 3:10 p.m., Ben and I drove back to the murder house on South Pico Boulevard, where we met police reporter George DeCoven. Together with Brian and Ortiz, we continued our preliminary investigation. We rechecked the immediate area of the Dixon home and talked again with the neighbors. We failed to come up with anything new. 4:25 p.m., along with the reporter, George DeCoven, Ben and I went back to the murder house.
Well, I don't know. It doesn't seem to jive that time of morning. It's possible, though.
What's that, Joey?
Prowler. Might have been it. You think so?
No, we've already run that down.
Yeah?
We checked communications. There's no recent complaints about anybody prowling the neighborhood. We talked to the neighbors, too. No indication of it. No sign anybody tried to break in here, either.
Got me. I can't figure.
And Dixon woman sure kept to herself. Lived here 11 years, and we can't dig up more than half a dozen neighbors who really knew her.
Had business with her daughter, too. It sure stacks up pretty strange. Didn't the crime lab crew find anything this morning, Joe?
No, nothing great. A jacket, a pair of shoes with a few stains on them. Took them in to run a benzodine test. That's about the size of it.
Sure a slow start.
Yeah. I expected a little more from the neighbors.
So did I.
You know, it'd be different if the thing happened in the middle of the night. According to the daughter, it must have happened at least after 8:30 this morning. Now, if the killer got in the house after that, you'd think somebody on the block would have noticed it. Neighbors close by on either side.
How about checking out in the yard and back? I didn't get too good a look around this morning.
Well, there's nothing more to cover in here. Crime lab's been all over it.
Yeah, how about where this Mrs. Dixon worked, Joe? Anybody tag base there?
Yeah, Tommy Bryan did. Hotel down on South Grand. She worked in the linen room. A couple people she knew there, they couldn't tell him anything.
How about some of her other friends?
No, nothing yet. We're still checking.
Go ahead, Joe. Thanks.
Oh, it's a big backyard. Kept it nice, didn't it?
You want to check alongside here, Ben, with the house? I'll give the back of the yard a look, huh?
Yeah, okay. Well,
good-sized garage, huh? Pretty hard to find them like that anymore.
Pretty good-sized lot, too. She sure must have worked at keeping it up. There's not a weed on the place, is there?
Yeah. More you can say for the neighbors.
Have a look, George, down here.
Huh?
Flower bed here. 2 little mounds of dirt, you see them?
Oh, yeah.
The ground looks like it's been recently turned, wouldn't you say?
Fairly recent. I wonder what that's supposed to mean.
Yeah. Oh, small wooden crosses pressed down in each one of the mounds.
Queer one, huh? Looks like a couple of small graves, doesn't it?
You want to reach me that stick over there, George?
Oh, yeah. Here you go.
Thank you. Have a look here.
Nice. Nothing on my end. How are you doing? What's this?
Oh, we're not sure ourselves. Wait a minute. Uh-huh.
What is it?
Wait a minute. Yeah, all right. There you are.
A bird. A little canary. How about that?
Hasn't been buried long. Look here. At the breast.
What do you think, a knife?
Could be. Sharp instrument of some kind. Just a minute. I'm going to try this other mound here.
Wait a minute, Joe. Yeah. It's another one. Yellow canary, same thing. Look at the breast.
Neither one's been buried for more than a few days.
Funny one. The Dixons raised canaries, you know?
I don't know. I don't think so.
It sure doesn't make any sense to me. If they didn't want the birds, you'd think they'd give them away. Why go slaughter them like this?
Yeah, well, it works both ways. Deep wounds in the chest. Some kind of sharp weapon.
Yeah.
The Dixon woman. She died the same way. 4:35 p.m. We took the 2 Canaries, wrapped them in paper, and brought them downtown to Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab to be processed. He was still running tests on the stained jacket and pair of shoes which had been found in the house among the dead woman's personal effects. 5:15 p.m. We checked with the office, and then we drove over to Juvenile Hall to see Roberta Dixon. Apparently, she was in a much better frame of mind.
I talked to Miss Harmon this afternoon, our vice principal. She wants me to come and stay with her for a while. Hope she can arrange it. It sure be nice.
Mm-hmm. We were back at your house this afternoon, Roberta. We found something we'd like to ask you about.
What's that?
Well, do you keep any pets in your house? I mean, either you or your mother?
Well, no, not usually. Why?
Well, how do you mean, not usually?
Well, we didn't up until a week ago. Mama didn't like animals. She didn't want them around.
Mm-hmm.
Then I got these 2 Canaries. I bought them with my own money. I work after school, you know.
I see.
I bought a cage for them, too. My mother was mad when I brought them home. She didn't like any kind of animals. She kept preaching at me. She finally made me get rid of them.
How'd you do that, Roberta?
I got a knife and I killed them.
See the difference. Taste the difference.
Smoke the difference.
You'll find that in Fatima, the difference is quality. Quality that gives you extra mildness. A much different, much better flavor and aroma.
Yes, in king-size Fatima, you get all the advantages of extra length, plus Fatima quality, which no other king-size cigarette has.
Fatima, best of all king-size cigarettes. Definitely the best quality in its class, but the same price as the cigarette you're now smoking.
Remember, thousands of Americans are switching to Fatima. Insist on Fatima quality. So why wait? Switch to Fatima today. Look for the sunny yellow pack. Buy Fatima. Best of all king-size cigarettes.
Remember, thousands and thousands of Americans are switching to king-size Fatima, insisting on Fatima quality.
So compare Fatima yourself. When you see the difference, taste the difference, smoke that difference, you'll switch to Fatima.
Because in Fatima, the difference is quality.
Look for the sunny yellow pack. Buy Fatima. Best of all king-size cigarettes.
February 18th, the Dixon girl was released to the custody of Miss Harmon pending action by the juvenile court, 9 p.m. Ben and I double-checked with Lieutenant Lee Jones at the crime lab. He showed us the school jacket and a pair of shoes which had been found in a closet in the home of the murdered woman, Mrs. Florence Dixon. Apparently, the clothing belonged to the daughter, Roberta. There were several dark stains on each of the articles. They'd been checked thoroughly. First, a benzodine test to determine if they were blood stains, then a biological precipitant test to classify them further. There wasn't any doubt in Lee's mind that the stains were recent, but they were made by human blood. The same blood type as that of the murdered woman. It was a little hard to believe, but the evidence on hand pointed to only one prime suspect, 16-year-old Roberta Dixon. Early the following morning, we checked back in at the office. Ben went across the street to see if the coroner's autopsy report was ready. 8:05 a.m. I checked by communications. They had a report on the tracer we'd gotten out on the murder victim's husband, a Charles Dixon. I picked it up and headed back to the office.
Morning, Joe.
Oh, hi, George. You get the message I left for you? I put it on your desk over in the press room.
Yeah, I got it, thanks. How's luck this morning? Anything new?
Well, this here, an answer on that tracer we got out on Mrs. Dixon's husband. He's been living up north for the past year, San Francisco.
That's so? Still up there?
No, not according to this. He died 6 months ago, heart attack.
What do you figure?
Well, there's not much choice.
Joe. Oh, hi, Joe.
Hi.
Autopsy report. Coroner just got it out.
What's the word?
It doesn't jibe with the story we got. The coroner places the time of death close to 7:30 a.m. yesterday. Cause of death, what we figured, chest wound. Some kind of a sharp weapon. There's something else. According to the girl, she had breakfast with her mother before she left for school. Coroner says Miss Dixon hadn't eaten for at least 12 hours before she died.
What was that time of death, Ben?
7:30 a.m., no later.
Well, I guess we better move on it, huh?
Yeah.
What's the angle?
Well, the daughter. She says she didn't leave the house until 8:30. Along with the policewoman, Ben and I drove out to the home of the high school vice principal, Miss Harmon, where the suspect, Roberta Dixon, was staying. There was no one there. We checked at the high school.
Miss Harmon told us that she'd brought Roberta to school that morning. She thought that if the girl attended classes, it'd help keep her mind off her troubles. Miss Harmon checked the classroom the Dixon girl was supposed to be in, but she wasn't there. Her teachers were contacted. None of them had seen her that morning. 9:40 a.m., we drove over to the Dixon home. We found Roberta in the back bedroom. She was sitting calmly at a sewing machine, stitching ruffles on a dress. In one corner of the room, there was an empty bird cage.
I'm pretty busy right now. I've got this sewing to do. What do you want to talk to me about?
We got a few more questions for you, Roberta. It's about your mother.
She's dead, isn't she? Do we have to talk about it?
Yeah, I'm afraid we do.
Why do we? Just told me she was dead. There's no sense in talking about dead people. Anyway, I've got this sewing to do. I have to get it finished. There. Isn't that pretty? These ruffles go all the way around the bottom of the skirt. Here, like this. Beautiful color, brown. You like it?
You want to tell us what happened, Roberta, yesterday morning?
Yesterday, I already told you, didn't I?
We don't think you were telling the truth. You want to go over it again for us?
Well, I've got this sewing to do. You can see that, can't you? 3 more rows of ruffles go on. Right here. I have to get it finished. It takes time, you know.
I think you better let the sewing go, Roberta.
Oh, no, I couldn't do that. I have to get it finished.
I'm afraid this is a little more important. I think you realize that.
I went over the whole thing for you already. I told you everything.
Wasn't the truth. You know that, Roberta.
Why do you say that?
Was it the truth?
What do you expect me to say?
That's up to you.
You think I lied, don't you? That's stupid. I haven't got any reason to lie.
Did you kill her, Roberta?
What?
Did you kill your mother?
I told you everything already. That's just the way it was. Mama and I got up and had breakfast, and I went to school, that's all. I don't have any reason to lie. Oh, excuse me. Hello? Oh, hi, Fran. Yeah, I'm working on it now. It's going to be beautiful. What? Oh, no, that's all right, sure. Oh, thanks. Yeah, I'm all right. Look, can you call me back later? Yeah, I'll be here. Okay, honey, bye. I'm sorry, officers. My girlfriend, Fran. She's a good friend of mine. She can vouch for me. She'll tell you I'm not a liar.
Do you own a pair of brown and white saddle Oxfords, Roberta?
No, why?
How about a school jacket? Green plaid?
No. I don't like green. Brown's my favorite color.
The green plaid jacket was found in the house here. It was stuffed back in the hall closet. It had your name stenciled on it.
Oh, yeah. That old thing. I don't even wear it anymore. Look at that. Won't it be pretty when I get it finished?
That jacket of yours, Roberta, they found blood stains on it. On the shoes, too. Roberta?
I already told you. The shoes aren't mine.
The jacket is.
Why do you keep calling me a liar? Can't you believe me for once? Isn't it bad enough the way things are?
Now, the last time we talked to you, you said you left the house at 8:30 yesterday morning. Is that right?
Yes, it was around 8:30.
Well, we got the report on your mother this morning, Roberta. The coroner says she died at 7:30, no later.
That's stupid. How could he tell anyway?
He can tell.
He's a liar.
Something else, Roberta. You told us you and your mother got up and you had breakfast together.
Yeah, we had breakfast together. Why are you picking on me?
You couldn't have had breakfast together. At the time she died, your mother hadn't eaten anything for 12 hours.
I guess you're going to say they can tell that, too.
That's right. You want to tell us what really happened now?
Now, tell us the truth, Roberta. It's going to work out a lot easier.
These are some of the toys I had when I was little. I saved almost all of them. My best doll. I had a lot of dolls. I loved them. Guess I still do. I love them more than her.
You mean your mother?
I wasn't fooling. I don't care if she's dead. She didn't mean anything to me. She never did mean anything. These are more of my dolls here. I dressed them all myself, every one of them.
What was the matter, Roberta, between you and your mother, I mean?
I don't know. I guess she just didn't mean anything. Not like anybody else's mother. She didn't mean anything at all. Same as my father. We were in the same house, that's all. Nobody cared for anybody else. It wasn't anything but fighting, or just not saying anything at all. I'm glad she's dead.
You killed her? Is that what you want to say?
Here's a little piano I had. I got one Christmas, I think. Look, still plays.
You want to tell us from the beginning?
It took a long time. I thought about it a lot. A week ago, I made up my mind. It's time to kill her. She was getting worse. I couldn't do anything. I was always wrong. Couldn't go out, couldn't do this, I couldn't do that. She started the same way yesterday morning. I got the knife from the kitchen. I went in and she was sitting on the bed putting her stockings on. I don't think she knew what happened. It didn't take long.
Were you having an argument with her? Is that what started it?
We argued every morning. I got so tired of it. She had an awful voice. Finally made up my mind. Planned it all out. I even practiced it. You know the 2 canaries I had?
Yeah.
I didn't buy them because I wanted them. They got to be cute, though. I felt bad about killing them.
Why'd you kill him, Roberta?
Practice. Decided to use a knife. I wasn't sure I knew how to do it, though, so I got the canaries. One day after school, I killed them. It gave me more confidence. I knew I could do it after that. Poor little things. I guess I shouldn't have killed them.
That knife you killed your mother with, Roberta, you want to show us where it is?
All right, I'll show you. I don't think you ever could have found it. It's up in the attic. Special place I hide things. Say, would you like some coffee or Coke or something?
No, thanks. Just one more thing. Why'd you leave school this morning? I mean, going off without telling anybody.
I wanted to come back here. I felt like it. I wanted to come back to my room. It's the only place I really like to be. I've lived in this house all my life. And this has always been my room. Toys I had. My dolls. Everything's here. Everything I have. My books. All my dolls.
Yeah. I think we better be going, Roberta. We'll have to take you downtown.
Yes, all right. I'll get my coat. Then I'll show you where the knife is.
All right.
Officers, could I ask you one favor?
What's that?
It probably sounds silly. It'll help a lot, though. This doll here.
Yeah.
Could I take it with me? Just this one. Make me feel a lot better. Please, do you think I could?
Yeah, sure. Bring it along if you like.
Thank you. You probably think I don't care for anything but my dolls. There's one thing, though, I want to tell you.
What's that?
I'm sorry now, I really am. I shouldn't have done it. I know it was wrong.
You do?
Yes, I'm sorry I killed the canaries.
The story you have just heard was true. The names were changed to protect the innocent.
On May 6th, the hearing was held in Juvenile Court, Department 38, City and County of Los Angeles, State of California. In a moment, the results of that hearing.
Now, here is our star, Jack Webb.
Thank you, George Fenneman. Friends, I'd like to take just a moment this evening to tell you about Fatima's Christmas gift carton. When you visit your dealer, take a real good look at it. I think you'll agree with me that it's the smartest of all Christmas cartons, just as it should be, because Fatima is the best of all king-size cigarettes. This Christmas season, I'm buying Fatimas for all my friends, and I hope you will, too. Compare Fatima. See the difference. Taste the difference, and then smoke that difference. Because in Fatima,
The difference is quality.
At the hearing in juvenile court, Roberta Evelyn Dixon was found unfit to be handled as a juvenile and was certified to Superior Court as an adult. There, she was found to be criminally insane by 3 psychiatrists appointed by the state. She is now confined to a state mental institution where she is undergoing treatment. You have just heard Dragnet, a series of authentic cases from official files. Technical advice comes from the Office of Chief of Police W.H. Parker, Los Angeles Police Department. Barton Yarborough is Sergeant Ben Romero. Also heard was Joyce McCluskey. Script by Jim Moser. Music by Walter Schumann. Hal Gibney speaking.
Fatima Cigarettes, best of all king-size cigarettes, has brought you Dragnet, transcribed from Los Angeles. Counter Spy fights international intrigue next on NBC.